Tradoon. Tradoon.
Glue is cheap.
Tradoon. Tradoon. Tradoon.
Extraordinary group of animals that have ever appeared on this planet, the dinosaurs. extraordinary group of animals that have ever appeared on this planet, the dinosaurs.
It's the Dinosaur man!
Okay.
2 months already?
have no idea to this day what that lady was singing about. The truth is, I don't want to know. I tell you, that voice soared. It was like some kind of pink dinosaur walked into a drab little cage and used its powerful tail to knock those walls away. And for the briefest of moments, every last man at Shawshank was a pink little dinosaur too.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. It is so good to have you here today. Got some exciting news to share. It's been a busy day, and we're gonna have a great stream. Holy cow. If anybody's here for the very first time, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. Here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach, you know? Talking about my own research in fossil science, digging up dinosaurs in the American West, you know, with various institutions and museums, studying dinosaurs, publishing on them in the scientific literature. Yeah, here to discuss some fossil news with you, new publications in fossil science. Take whatever questions you've got, too. My whole purpose here is to give you an inside peek into how paleontology works. So if that sort of thing sounds interesting to you, I hope you stick around. And don't be shy with those questions, you know? Whether you're curious about dinosaurs in particular, that's my particular wheelhouse. And thank you, Drucifer, for that gift sub. I appreciate that very much, Drucifer. Thank you, thank you. Whether you've got questions about dinosaurs in particular or broader topics in natural history, extinction, evolution, the fossil record, the philosophy of science, any of this stuff, don't be shy with those questions, like I said. On today's stream, we're going to be talking about, well, if we get to it, we'll be talking about some exciting news in fossil science, some new publications. Fossil science, especially the study of dinosaurs, does not stand still. We're always learning new things all the time, new publications every week, if not every day. We'll be talking about some of those today. Also, I've got our 3D printer going. I'll show you progress on our Trirarchunkus. We're just printing the tail right now. The third half of it, as it were. The first two halves are already done. I'll show you those after I get through chat and say hello to everybody. And then I've got some exciting summer-related news to share with you, too. We've already lost the top of chat. Holy cow. Let me go to here and see how far it'll let me scroll up on the browser. Kind of far. We've got Kodali up the top. How you doing, Kodali? Welcome, welcome. Dinosaur Dave, what's shaking with you? Good to have you here. Claire Burr, hope all is well. Always lovely to see you, Claire. Hope you're having a good day. Fall Machine, what's shaking with you, Fall Machine? Howdy, howdy. You know very well we talk about dinosaurs on this channel, Fall Machine. That's what it's all about. Smartphosaurus, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you. Lunaseer, hello to you. I hope things are good in your part of the world. Welcome back. And Arle, what's shaking, Arle? I hope you're having a good day so far. Welcome back. Science Streams, Balint, how are you doing, my friend? It is great to see you. Hope all is well with you and Lita and the baby and the cats and the ants. Full house over there, Science Streams. Hope you're all doing well. Charlie Rex, how are you doing, Charlie Rex? Howdy, howdy. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Eddie Scarin. What is shaking with you? Okay, I can scroll down over here now. And what could this possibly be? Elias! Holy moly. Elias?
They say this is almost a whole year.
It's several months is what it is, Elias, which may or may not be somewhere close to a whole year. Ostensibly, allegedly, in a video game, in a dream. Elias, thank you for the 12 months of support. I really appreciate that, Elias. Thank you. Holy cow. Yeah. Who else have we got? Texas Cryptid. What's shaking with you? Good to have you here. Eddie Scarin, Prehistoric Plaza. How are you two doing? Welcome, welcome. Duck Admirer. I admire the fact that you're here, Duck Admirer. It's good to have you. I saw some ducks today, and I gotta say, I was admiring them. I went out on a little bird watching excursion with some birders in Oakland today. It was pretty cool. Brow is back too. How you doing, Brow? Hello, hello. Birds are dead on. Baryonyx back half and a zebra finch front half. Good stuff. Birds are dead on. You mixing and matching theropod parts. I dig it. Musaica is here too. How are you doing, Musaica? Welcome, welcome. Moon Burbs. How are you doing, Moon Burbs? Welcome. Should tune in tomorrow for Thursday Birds Day, our weekly celebration of living dinosaurs. I think you might enjoy that if you've got Burbs in your name. Just, I don't mean to profile you. It's just, you know, if you're a fan of birds, I think you'll enjoy tomorrow's stream. Yeah, and today's. Don't go away just yet. Two Chooks, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Two Chooks. I hope you're feeling okay now. Hope, yeah, shoot. I hope you're doing better, Two Chooks. Yeah. Dragon Fairy, how are you doing? Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Transit Biker, did you hear about the angry paleontologist? They had a bone to pick, like I do after that joke, Transit Biker. Oh no. Oh no.
Brother, this guy stinks!
Not you, Transit Biker. Whoever first came up with that joke. It's not that bad, honestly. I've heard much worse. Welcome, Transit Biker. It's good to have you here. Yeah. And let's see. Kawa is back too. How are you doing, Kawa? Welcome, welcome. Great to see you. And let's see. Scrolling. Trying to say hello to everybody. The Mayor of Space. How are you doing, Mayor of Space? Welcome, welcome. And yeah, nobody danced in that clip. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would have made a different decision if I were directing that, you know? But yeah, I did forget to reset the sub goal. Shoot, you're right. Let me do that right now. Thank you, Smurf. Like I said, it's been a busy day, and I'm excited to share with you what showed up on the doorstep earlier. If you read the title, it'll give you a clue. And let's make that 47, because we already had some gift subs today. And I want to account for those. Thank you to everybody who has gifted subs so far. Really appreciate that. Excellent. Thank you, Smurf, for bringing that to my attention. But yeah, and Ragnarocker, is it possible for dinosaurs to have crocodile-esque teeth/jaw? Basically like the Dominus Rex and stuff? Oh boy, another movie question, Ragnarocker. At least this is like pertaining to real dinosaurs. It's not super likely that any dinosaurs would have teeth like that, where the teeth are basically like growing out of their skin on the outside of their mouth. Unless they're, like, deformed? No. No, because if I recall correctly, just like the Tyrannosaurs in that King Kong movie, right? They basically have teeth, like, growing out of the outside of their jaws. Which is not a real thing. Let's see here. Yeah, where basically the teeth are like, they're coming out of outside of the jawline. Yeah, that's not a real thing. As far as I know, no dinosaurs had that. Yeah. So, no. Just like in King Kong, right? Got the same thing going on where the teeth are like coming out from out of the jawline. That's not a thing. Yeah. But yeah, let's see here. And thank you, Dorkalotl. I appreciate that. I'm gonna show that off in a little bit, I think. But yeah. I'm, like, astonished that I haven't tried the thing yet. It just showed up, but cross your fingers that it works. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Skako, how are you doing? Howdy. Charlie Rex. Dan Folks, new theropod sizes. I've not seen that, no. Yeah. Size in terms of mass? Yeah. Let's see. Scrolling. You're always here for the burbs. Glad to hear it, Moonburbs. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Birders. Very funny mayor's face. Museika's got another hybrid theropod there, too. Non-avian, avian hybrid theropod. Yeah, let's see. Scrolling. Trying to say hello to everybody. Filthy Badger has showed up. How are you doing, Filthy Badger? Good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Happy Wednesday to you too, MS Coggins. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Partial C. Moria skeleton. That's interesting. Reptilomorph from the Permian? Early Permian? Contemporary of Dimetrodon. That's cool, Prehistoric Plaza. Very cool. Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, Tactile says, I got a new toy P1P 3D print. Very cool, Tactile. Very cool. Yeah. But yeah. And Creatrix Brit, how are you doing, Brit? It's great to see you here. And Creatrix Brit, I'm gonna check on that Friday morning. I'm heading to the P.O. box. Haven't had a chance yet. It's been a very busy week. I was in Berkeley yesterday, hanging out with some other paleontologists. Today I was out bird watching for a special event. And, yeah. Tomorrow, what do I have going on tomorrow? I gotta go get an oil change tomorrow morning before stream. Friday morning is when I'm gonna check the P.O. box. Thank you, Britt, for sending something. I'm excited. Oh boy, what could it be? Yeah. Always something going on. Exactly, Dinosaur Dave. No rest for the paleontologist. Except at night. When we sleep in our tents. Speaking of sleeping in tents, and doing field work for that matter, I've got something exciting to share with you. Something quite exciting, if I don't say so myself. Let's see. Shoot, how long is it gonna take to scroll to, hang on a minute. Maybe I can use Google to find it.
Science is like a blabbermouth who ruins a movie by telling you how it ends. Well, I say there are some things we don't want to know. Important things.
Suave Chibi Ranger, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Holy cow. Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking, and I think this... Thank you, Google. Wow. So this is a series of tweets that I did years ago. This is from March 18th, 2021. And, this applies to all of you right now. Have you ever wanted to watch a real dinosaur dig live? Well, here you go. This is a GIF that I put together of some videos of my fieldwork in the past. So here's the plan. While doing paleontological fieldwork this summer, I'm aiming to live stream some dinosaur excavations on Twitch, answering viewer questions and bringing in donations to help support ongoing research. There you go, Lenina, yeah. As a paleontologist, a huge part of what I do is education and outreach, and lately I've found that Twitch is an ideal medium for science communication. It inspired me to be more creative in how I think about science communication. But yeah. Here's the tricky part. We never have good internet access out in the field. The areas that I work in, we typically call badlands, tend to be pretty remote areas. You know. Like... how you say, middle of nowhere. Out miles and miles and miles from any place. These are the areas where we often have the best exposures of beautiful, juicy, sedimentary rocks. The kinds of rocks in which you find vertebrate fossils, like the bones of dinosaurs, for instance. So this past summer, I was out working in eastern Utah, way out in the middle of nowhere. And of course, there is no internet out there. Don't even usually get cell service. So how do I live stream from a place like that? How would I do something high bandwidth like a Twitch stream in a place like that? Well, yeah. Out in the Badlands, miles away from the nearest tiny remote town, we'd be lucky to have electricity or running water. We're not gonna have either this summer. Let alone internet fast enough for live streams. So yeah, Starlink. You probably heard about it. Yeah, Starlink would give us an opportunity to blah, blah, blah. So I actually got a Starlink unit in late 2021. They actually sent me one. I ordered it and everything, and I paid for it, and luckily it showed up just after I got back from the field, so it didn't get stolen off the doorstep or anything. But it didn't work. And I'd been wrestling with customer support for most of this year right now, like trying to get them to do something about that. And they said they were going to send me a new unit. And they did. It arrived today. So I'm getting ready to do some, well, I'm going to be testing the unit either tonight or tomorrow, I guess. Another thing I gotta do. So much stuff piling up on my plate right now. But, this summer when I'm out digging dinosaurs in Wyoming and Utah, I plan on live streaming it. Doing some broadcasts at least a few times a week. Trying to bring you in on that process of discovery. Show you what it's like firsthand to dig up dinosaurs. It'll be, as far as I know, the first time that's ever been featured on Twitch, and it's going to be a remarkable opportunity for some science outreach. I am very, very excited. So yeah. The Starlink box showed up today, and I think with this camera we can go ahead and open it up, and I can show you what's inside. So let's try and do that, shall we? Here. Yeah. Here we go. Let me cover up my address so I don't dox myself. There we go. Yeah. Is having to camp out in the field in tents? We do sleep in tents, Musica, yes. Yeah. But I don't know. It's something that I've gotten used to over the years. Actually, here's the thing. I never really went camping when I was a kid. I didn't grow up going camping. So the first time I ever actually, like, went camping for real, was my first summer in the field, out digging dinosaurs with Museum of the Rockies. So my first time ever actually camping for real was when I was out there for, like, a month and a half. Living out of a tent for a month and a half. Yeah. But I took to it like a fish to water, you know? In fact, I really miss that. If I don't get to do field work in a given year, it's like, get the jitters, you know? So yeah, it's something that I really enjoy now, you know? Something special about kind of living.
Certainly, there are many more dinosaurs waiting to be discovered.
It's true, House on the Strand.
Waiting to be pondered.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. How you doing? It's good to have you here. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So nowadays, I'm out there in the field for, this summer I might be out there for a whole 3 months. Basically from beginning of June until maybe the end of August? Maybe mid-September? I'm not even sure. But it doesn't mean that I have to stop streaming now. Thanks to this. Let's hope. Let's plug it in and see if it works later. But yeah. Yeah. I'm just covering up my address here. All of that. Alright, and I think we are set. Okay. Here it is. Right here. The Starlink box. So, let's get it opened up, shall we? see what's inside. This is a refurbished one that they sent me, because my original one didn't work at all. It's not like it was completely dead, but it just would not, the software wouldn't update, so it didn't work. But look at that, holy cow. I love this because this is like half the size of the one that I had before. Which was honestly kind of too big. This is much more reasonable. Here is a tripod, so I can just mount this on the ground, out in the Badlands there. And then here is the dish itself. It's a little scuffed up. It's been refurbished. But honestly, it's not in bad shape. Yeah. And then here are our directions right here. Very simple. Even simpler than IKEA directions, I guess. Gotta do everything through the app, which I kind of wish there were, like, physical buttons you could push. Because I'm old-fashioned that way, you know? But, yeah. There we go. It's here, and here is the router. Right here. Very sleek. What is that supposed to be? Is that... I think that's the Sun, Earth, and Mars, maybe? On here? I don't know, something like that. But yeah. And there's the court, so good. It's got the cables with it. That's important. But yeah, very nice. I am super excited to try this out. Honestly, where I live, it's not a great place to test this sort of thing, because it's... I don't know. Might get signal overload around here. There's also, like, trees and stuff. But, I'll figure something out, and I'll test it before I leave for the summer. And, but yeah, I am very, very excited. This was the main thing standing in between us and being able to have live streams this summer from the field is, you know, not having the right equipment. And now, fingers crossed, that hurdle has been cleared. So, I am very, very excited about this. Yeah. And Mayor Space, that's lousy. That printer didn't come with the cable. Yeah. Anyway. Now I just need the generator. Exactly. So this thing is going to take some juice, but on the plus side, since this is about half the size of the other Starlink setup, I'm pretty sure it draws much less electricity. So we might need to, we won't need as large a generator, I think, which is excellent. We'll be setting up I'll be doing a fundraising stream at some point, probably in early May. Because I want to build up some hype for that first. But yeah. Somebody type in the calendar or schedule command. Is it calendar or is it schedule? But, yeah. Hopefully my Jackery will... I don't think it will. I'll try it, Lenina. I will try it. But something tells me that won't be enough power. Yeah. And solar panel? No, it's going to be too much... I think it's going to have too much draw for a solar panel, unfortunately, Museica, because I would much prefer to use a solar panel. But we'll see. We'll see. And you can make it both? I would appreciate that, Claire. Actually, that'd be great. Yeah. But yeah, I updated the calendar today before stream. One of the few things I was able to get to. But yeah, I'm gonna have, oh man, May is gonna be jam-packed. I just started putting new things on the calendar for May. I will not be streaming on the 11th, because I'm gonna be doing some in-person science outreach here in the Bay Area, talking to some school kids about dinosaurs. I got a special invitation to talk to some kids about dinosaurs, and I'm very excited about that. So Thursday, Thursday the 11th of May, no stream. But yeah. Gonna be working on my poster, which I'll be presenting at the conference in Utah in June. I'll be working on that this day, and I will show you how to create an excellent science research conference poster. Very excited about that. And then somewhere in here, I'll organize a fundraiser stream so that we can get ourselves a generator and be able to use this equipment in the field. So yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. And the week before Memorial Day, doing rehashes on Prehistoric Planet 2, I guess, Jody Fish, yeah. Shoot, that would be 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th? I guess so, yeah. Here. Oop. I hate how it reformats like this every time that we... Yeah. Vertical alignment. There we go. But yeah, and I'll be adding some more stuff to the calendar as it comes up. But yeah. General fieldwork facilitation, says Golganak. No, I'm going to have a dedicated generator just for this. We have other generators in the field, or another generator to run the jackhammers on. At least when I'm working with the folks in Utah. But, yeah, I think I'm only going to need a small generator for this. So, yeah. Yeah. And do I have a file for what I'm printing now? I do not, burn slots, no. The printer has a mind of its own, and it's actually creating this moment by moment via artificial unintelligence. Now, of course I have a file. What do you mean? Yeah. Here, let me show you what I'm printing so far. Quick little recap. There we go. Should be right there. Actually, give me a second here. So for any of you who weren't present earlier, here, this is a VOD from a previous stream. And so this is a program called Sculptress. This is what I do my sculpting in. Freeware program. It's hard to find nowadays. It's no longer supported by the company. But yeah. Start off with a sphere like this, and then you mold it and shape it. And I did this live on stream. Making this little theropod dinosaur, Triararchuncus. This is the first dinosaur that bears my name, sort of, at least in the author's list, you know? This is, why are we talking about drinking birds? Anyway, yeah. I guess because it looks kind of like a drinking bird. But yeah, so I sculpted this live on stream, and I just finished it this weekend. Finished it to the point where I felt comfortable printing it. But I'll show you that file. And that is right... Well, first let me show you what the critter actually looks like. So this is a Mononychine theropod, an Alvarosaurid. Looks very, very similar to this guy. Our dinosaur is from Montana. It's very similar to this dinosaur from Mongolia, called Mononychus. It's from the same family. It's virtually indistinguishable. Ours is probably a little bit bigger, and its claws are slightly different. But these are really weird little dinosaurs, maybe up to about 6 feet long. About half of that is tail. So it's like a, about the size of a great blue heron or something like that, maybe. If you know what a big heron. You know herons. Yeah. But these guys did not eat frogs and fishes and bags of Wonder Bread. They were probably insectivorous, using those ridiculously short arms with those ridiculously big thumb claws. The name Mononychus means one claw. And, yeah. Probably for ripping open termite nests inside of rotting logs and stuff like that. Maybe opening up mammal burrows to eat the tasty little mammals inside. So, yeah. Anyway. Triararchuncus. Yeah. And ours, here it is on the old Wikipedia, Triararchuncus. It's the last of the Alvarezsaurs. And here is the paper right here. Yeah. Triararchuncus prairiensis, the last Alvarezsaurid. So the name Triararchuncus actually means Captain Hook. Because of those ridiculous claws like that. You get it? So yeah. Anyway, would you like to see our Triararchuncus model here? Let me show you. Here it is so far. The first two halves assembled. Take a look at that. I am very, very happy with how this has turned out so far. Holy cow, look at that. Oh man, it makes me happy. This is my first new dinosaur to be published. So yeah, Triararchuncus prairiensis. So we're still working on the tail. The tail is printing as we stream. But there you go. I'm pretty happy about this. It's gonna go on the shelf right where the Iguanodon is right now. Iguanodon will be replaced by Triararchuncus. Because that's a very old Iguanodon and not really representative of what that animal should look like. At all. Whatsoever. But yeah. Little Triararchuncus here. Check him out. And look at those claws. I exaggerated the claws somewhat because I wanted to make it very clear that these guys have got one big ridiculous claw like that. So it's a little bit of a caricature. But, you know, think of it like a diagram you'd see in a science textbook. It's been curated for better understanding. So, yeah. And it's been curated so people will look at it and go, what is that? And what's going on with its hands? When they see it in the background over here. When they come to the channel for the first time. So it'll be right up there. And I am very, very excited. And I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with the pose that I made for it. It's, I think it's pretty. I hope you think it's pretty too. But, yeah, here we go. It's gonna convert it to inches. Nope, there we go. Yeah. So there you are. Yeah, Triararchuncus. It's got a big bushy anteater tail, because I thought that looked neat. And that's kind of a trope for these guys, and it's a trope that I like. So there you go. Triararchuncus, the last of the Alvarezsaurs, and that's what it'll look like when it is finished printing. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah. Think it has a sense of movement? Thanks, Risa Degu. Hey, I appreciate you saying so. Yeah, I wanted to give it some sort of sense of dynamism there, and I think it turned out well. Yeah, there's a few improvements I would make if I ever did a version 2, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy about that and pretty excited that the tail is now printing. Ooh boy, yeah. And thank you, Ghostly Ghoul. I appreciate that. I do. Thank you for the kind words. It turns out I'm actually much better at sculpting than I am at drawing. Yeah. So nowadays, if I'm gonna do like a 2D illustration, oftentimes I'll sculpt it first, just so I make sure that like I'm getting proper perspective and, you know, I can change lighting and stuff on it. Yeah. So yeah, let's put him like this and then let's zoom in. There we go. Yeah. So yeah. Take photos for a reason. There you go, Risa Degu. Yeah. Well, taking photos for reference when you're doing 2D art can be very useful also. So yeah. Anyway, very excited. And you can see the finished product tomorrow. It'll be part of our Thursday Birds Day celebration, like we have just about every Thursday. Sorry we missed last Thursday, but I was out of town. So yeah. So yeah. Anywho, everybody, if anybody's got any questions, now is the ideal time for that. Because if there are no questions forthcoming, we're just going to jump into some fossil news, and we'll go ahead and do that. And welcome back, Prehistoric Plaza. Good to have you here. Oh, Xenoceratops. Thank you, Claire Burr. I completely forgot about that from the other day. Let's do a deep dive on Xenoceratops. Excellent. Here we go. So Xenoceratops was one of our deep dives that was requested by Claire Burr. And this is, well, first, let's take a look at ceratopsians in general. Ceratopsian horns and frills, and I'll throw some ceratopsians into the chat for you. There's 3 different genera right there. Triceratops, Styracosaurus, Navajoceratops. There in the chat. These are the horned dinosaurs. And there are probably about 100 different ceratopsians that have been named so far, if not more. There's a lot. 100 different genera and species. And man, do they vary in terms of their size and their shape, particularly their shape. The unique morphology of their heads. The back half of these animals, or back most of these animals, what we call the postcranium, like here on this Triceratops. The postcranium tends to be pretty uniform, you know? You've got 2 legs in the back, 2 legs in the front, you've got a fairly short tail, kind of barrel-shaped body like this. And so the torsos and the bodies of these animals are pretty interchangeable, to be honest. Nobody really studies the postcrania of these animals. The part that's actually informative, the part that's important for, like, telling one species apart from another, that's this. The part of the ceratopsian that evolves the fastest is definitely the business end. The head. And you see that right here with these animals. So yeah, Pentaceratops is one of your favorites. Very cool, Prehistoric Plaza. That's a good one, for sure. Yeah, Xenoceratops is lurking somewhere in here, I think. Might be there? 33 might be Xenoceratops? Or maybe 26? But I don't know my ceratopsians as well as I know some of my other dinosaurs. There's so many of them now. Let's see. 29 is a Rhinoceratops. Never mind. Well, let's just look at Xenoceratops here. There we go. Totally different. Xenoceratops. And I love this colorful one here. That's pretty nice. Although they almost certainly didn't have quills like that on their butts. But yeah. And Xenoceratops formostensis. I bet you this dinosaur's from the Foremost Formation. Late Cretaceous of Canada, right? Let's see if, by chance, there happens to be a YouTube video about Xenoceratops. Without even looking it up, I can tell you that the name Xenoceratops means strange or alien horned face. There we go. Yeah. And, oh, here is a... Shoot, I guess you can get a plastic model through Beasts of the Mesozoic? Good for them, that's cool. Let's take a look. I gotta check on something real quick. Oh, cool. Okay.
Kickstarter for the
Anyway, let's look at the animal.
and you talked about the
We came here for the dinosaur, please.
which have already been established
Come on now.
prior to the Kickstarter.
I'm sorry, what? There it is. Shoot. I must have hit the skip forward button. We don't need stock music. We've got our own. Very nice. Xenoceratops. Pretty cool animal. Here, I will be right back. Yeah, I think maybe the coolest thing about ceratopsians is that they're some of the first dinosaurs that we can actually use, maybe the first dinosaurs we can actually use to do stratigraphy. And man, that's awesome, all the different ways that you can pose this. That's so neat. Very cool. Holy moly. I had to get me some of these. Lenina actually got me a little Tyrannosauroid from this same collection. And that's going to be really useful, actually, for doing artwork. You can pose it like one of those You know what I mean. Yeah. You know, like one of these. Human artist model? There you go. Human mannequin. Dinosaur mannequin. Ceratopsian mannequin. Yeah. They're expensive, says Smorphosaurus. I know, yeah. So I'd have to be careful about which one I get. But I can also just sculpt things and then 3D print them. Which, you know, is maybe a lot cheaper in the long run. More time consuming, though. But yeah, very cool articulation, Claire Burr. Very, very cool. So anyway, Xenoceratops. The coolest thing about ceratopsians is that we can basically watch them evolve through time. We've got so many different forms nowadays, and if we're careful about recording when in time they're from, we can basically arrange them and then, like, just kind of watch them evolve before our eyes, you know? We can already sort of do that with Styracosaurus and Rubeosaurus, I think. Yeah, and there's a few others that I can't talk about yet because it's unpublished. But anyway, yeah, we can see it with Triceratops horridus, Triceratops, who species hasn't been named yet, in the middle, and then at the top, Triceratops prorsus. We can watch these animals evolve over time, which is really, really cool. But the more of these dinosaurs we find, the more dinosaurs that we can do this for. We can basically watch these lineages change over time, which is super cool. Paleontology basically is the study of the evolution of life on Earth through fossils, you know? And that's what we can do with ceratopsians, which is really neat. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to Xenoceratops itself. And let's figure out what makes this particular dinosaur so special. That's what a deep dive is all about, you know? And we'll even get into the original literature if we can. So yeah, like I said, alien horned face. There's kind of a trope with horned dinosaurs like this. Triceratops, Pentaceratops, Diabloceratops, Cosmoceratops, etc. They end with the suffix ceratops. Means horned face. There's a number of different dinosaur groups, like the ornithomimids, they usually end in mimus. Tyrannosaurs, sometimes they end in tyrannus. Dromaeosaurs, sometimes they end in raptor, you know? As with oviraptorosaurs, too. So anyway, yeah, its remains were discovered in the Foremost Formation. Makes sense. But wow, the history goes back a long way. In 1958, Juan Langston Jr., this is the same guy who discovered or named or at least studied Quetzalcoatlus. Same guy from Texas. Yeah. He excavated skull fragments from the Foremost Formation near Foremost, Alberta. The formation was very poorly understood in regards to its dinosaur fauna. Aside from teeth, only hadrosaur skeletons and Calypiocephali have been reported. To this day? Wow. Anyway, yeah. And let's see. So I guess this was just stored in a cabinet in the Canadian Museum of Nature in Ottawa. Around 2003, Dave Evans and Michael Ryan became curious about the specimens, and more thorough investigation conducted in 2009. They discovered it to be a new species and genus. So this is a dinosaur that was dug up back in the 50s and only named in 2009. Remember when I said, chat, many, many times that sometimes it can be years or decades in between when a dinosaur is first dug up and when it actually gets published on? This is an example of that, you know? Yeah. Oh, and today's Alien Day. Oh, very cool, Ghostly Ghoul. Well, Xenoceratops for Alien Day. The alien horned face. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. And turnaround papers can be long. This wasn't even that. This is just those fossils sat in museum collections for a long time until somebody got curious about them and decided to study them in depth. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. And it's based on a pariah. Wait, what? It's based on a single bone? Wow. Okay. Xenoceratops can be distinguished by the other ceratopsids by details of the frill's bony ornamentation. Let's see if we can look at that original paper, if we can get hold of it. And we will have, should have, a photo of that in there. Here we go. Beautiful. You just love an open access paper. There we go. Here is the link to that, so you can follow along at home if you'd like. But yeah. There it is from there in Alberta. Alberta, Canada, one of the world's most fossil-rich provinces, regions, prefectures, states. Alberta. Tons and tons and tons of dinosaurs from Alberta. Yeah. And this is that specimen. So a single bone sometimes can reveal an entire dinosaur. And for this one in particular, we already know what the back half of it's going to look like. We know what the body, the arms and legs, the tail are going to look like. Because they look the same for just about any ceratopsian. You know? And nobody really studies those in detail because they tend to all be pretty much the same. What you focus on is the head because that's the part that differs. And this is like totally unlike that of just about any other ceratopsid. It's pretty cool. So from just that, they're able to reconstruct the back of the frill, and then they presume that it also had two little horns over its eyes, and then kind of a nasal boss, or even a little horn over its nose. But that part is still kind of mysterious as I understand it. I don't think they've actually found much more of it. So I think that's still all we've got. Here an artist has given it kind of bigger horns. But yeah, pretty neat. I wonder where it falls out on a cladogram. Let's take a look. But yeah, let's see here. And of course, it's a super primitive outgroup because we don't have a lot of other, yeah. It is from pretty early on, so it should be primitive, I suppose. But yeah, huh. Very cool stuff. Anyway, it goes to show that there are still a lot of horned dinosaurs out there yet to be discovered, especially in North America. You'll find a few in Asia, you'll find a few in Eastern Europe, maybe, but North America is really where it's at for ceratopsians. So yeah, and this is another one of those dinosaurs that's not just known from a single specimen, it's known from a single bone. That's why it is so important for dinosaur fossils to be in museums. Especially when you're dealing with a geologic formation that's very poorly studied, like the Foremost Formation. You know, even a single dinosaur bone can alert you to the presence of a totally new kind of dinosaur there. You know? That's why it's important for dinosaur fossils to be in museums held in the public trust. So yeah. Yeah. Neuralicia says, have you been to the Alberta Badlands? Yes and no, Neuralicia. I've been to the very, very top of the Montana Badlands, and I've walked briefly into Canada from there and seen some of the Badlands in Canada, but I've never actually worked in the Badlands of Canada. But I've been literally like 2 miles south of there digging dinosaurs in Montana. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway. Yeah. And just Google hoodoos. Well, I was working in the same terrain, just south of the border, you know? The Badlands don't care whether it's Canada or Montana. If they extend across the border, it's the same on both ends, you know? So yeah. 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 Still haven't been to Montana. Yeah, Linusir, it's something. It is something. I've spent almost a decade of my life there. So yeah. Yeah. And paleontologists invading Canada. It's usually the other way around, Fall Machine. Those darn Canadians coming down across the border, buying American dinosaurs. But yeah. You invented Canada, T-Mat Tricks. How? Must be pretty long in the tooth there, T-Mat Tricks. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. And Smurfosaurus, it's a long story, Smurf, but you know, I wish that dinosaur paleontologists in the US got the same kind of support from our government that Canadian paleontologists get from their government. Holy cow. Canada loves its dinosaurs, and Canadian paleontologists, they've got it pretty good compared to us here in the States. Not just because they have healthcare. But yeah. And Dorco City, how are you doing, Dorcosity? What's shaking? Good to have you here. Yeah. Welcome to Paleontologize. It's good to have you here. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. And why was Triceratops's head so large? David Delahoon, that is a great question. Thank you, by the way. I saw that you resubscribed 2 months now, David Delahoon. I appreciate you very much. So, these dinosaurs, ceratopsians, like Xenoceratops, like Triceratops here, they didn't just have big heads, they had the biggest heads of any land animal that ever lived. If you ever get a chance to see a Triceratops skull in person, I would recommend that you do that. Here is me, many moons ago, at Museum of the Rockies with the skull of Yoshi's trike, or a cast of Yoshi's trike's skull. The Triceratops from the Yoshi's trike site in Garfield County, Montana. These animals had pretty big honkin' noggins. Yeah, they had the biggest heads of any land-living animals that ever lived. Which is pretty cool. Yeah. The longest Triceratops skulls get almost 10 feet long, I think. Between 8 and 10 feet long. Yeah, they get pretty big. Yeah. So, let's see here. Yeah, the very largest Triceratops, these aren't even the biggest. Shoot, they get bigger than this. If you think that Torosaurus is an adult Triceratops, which I do. Yeah, they get even bigger than this. Which is pretty cool, right? Yeah. Why do they have such a big head? Well, that's the business end of the animal. They've got these enormous jaws that they use for cropping plants. They've got these big horns and frills that they may have used the horns for defense in a pinch, but those horns and frills seem to have evolved for display, for showing off to one another. These would have been very social animals, it seems, which is why the head evolves so much more quickly than the rest of the body. You know, it's like fashion trends changing. These animals are using the ornaments on their heads for social display. And I guess they're kind of... It's something to do with their social structure, social hierarchy, for telling who is old and who is young and who is dominant in a given herd or whatever. We don't know about the details, but we know that this is like a visual signal to one another. Yeah, the horns are not... They don't seem to be vitally important for defense, necessarily, and that's why some of them evolve just no horns at all, you know? Like, for instance, Ankylosaurus. Or, Pachyrhinosaurus here. You know? Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Indy Croftcom says, were the ornaments more defined based on the gender? No, Indy Croftcom. No. As far as we know, like for Triceratops, for instance, male and female Triceratops, they look identical in terms of the shape of their skulls, the shape of their horns, their frills, everything else. And I can show you a little video. Let's see. Here it is. It's called Searching for the Sexes in Dinosaur Horns. Yeah.
13 Royal Tyrrell Museum Speaker Series.
So this is
Today,
a
the Royal
talk
Tyrrell Museum and its cooperating
by Ben
society
Borkovic.
to present Mr. Benjamin Borkovic. Ben is a
Yeah.
master's student in the Department of Biological Sciences at the
Anyway,
University
let's
of
skip
Calgary.
through
Growing
to
up in the Northwest Territories, Ben developed a passion
results,
for the natural world and went on to
Centrosaurus,
study geology and
conclusions.
corroborated.
Yeah.
In Centrosaurus then was possible bimodal clustering in some.
So he looked at a dinosaur called Centrosaurus, which is one of these ceratopsians. One of maybe the most common well, I don't know if it's the most common. I don't know if it's as common as Triceratops in the long run. But there have been bone beds found with maybe hundreds of these animals that all died in the same place. Maybe they had a really bad day crossing a river after some really heavy spring rains or something, and just a bunch of them died in the same place at the same time. But yeah, Centrosaurus here. One big nose horn, and you've got some spiky bits up on the parietal and squamosal, the frill behind the head. Frill is what we call it. And so here, Ben says...
It was.
Yep.
As I mentioned, many people before me have also talked about in the end sort of.
Yep.
As an
So, insufficient evidence to reject monomorphism. So what does that mean? Actually, let's ask chat. Chat, what do you think that means? Insufficient evidence to reject monomorphism. Let's have some guesses here in the chat. Looking at all these Centrosaurus, found there's insufficient evidence to reject monomorphism. One form, Jody Fish. Yes. So if you want to understand this term monomorphism, you have to understand what dimorphism is. Dimorphism, like sexual dimorphism, is where the two sexes, for animals that do have two sexes, not all do. Dimorphism is when the males and females look different. That could be in terms of their coloration, like you have in a lot of birds. It could be in terms of their size. It could be in terms of different structures that they have. Like, we think that pterosaurs, the males would have had big crests like this, and the females had smaller crests or no crests at all in many cases. Yeah, this is nuts. With sheephead fish, they exhibit extreme sexual dimorphism, where the males and females look super different from each other, but none of them are born male. All of them are born female, and only the females that get big enough eventually morph into a male. It's really weird and cool. So yeah, that's sexual dimorphism, is when you've got the males and the females that look different from one another. So monomorphism is when the males and the females look the same, and you can't tell them apart. And that seems to be the case for ceratopsian dinosaurs, like Centrosaurus. And so far, we've never been able to tell the difference between a male and a female dinosaur just based on their anatomy, just based on their skeletons. As far as we can tell, the skeletons of female dinosaurs and the skeletons of male dinosaurs look exactly the same. It's not like the females have wider hips or a bigger aperture for eggs to go through or anything like that. Nope. It's not like the males have longer horns or bigger frills or bigger spikes on their tail or anything like that. As far as we can tell, based on the data that we have, the skeletons of male and female dinosaurs seem to be identical. Just about every case. Which is really interesting. So yeah, we can only use, so far, the only way that we can tell if a dinosaur is male or female is if she was female and she was ovulating or she was pregnant, then she'll have sometimes like medullary tissue inside of her long bones, like her femur. So if you cut the bones open and you find medullary tissue in there, then you know, A, dinosaur is pregnant, which means B, she's female. So we don't have any positive way of identifying male dinosaurs at present. So strictly speaking, if you wanted to be a real wag about this kind of thing, you could say, well, you know, we don't know for certain that there were any male dinosaurs. The only ones we have positively identified would be female. So maybe all dinosaurs are female. Which, yeah, probably not true. But yeah, we don't yet have evidence for any male dinosaurs yet. Thank you for the hydrate there. Give them now. I will drink some water. And Shuvuya, thank you, Murph, for redeeming a dinosaur deep dive. Let's do Shuvuya now. Yeah. Nice. Here. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and medullary bone. Here, Suave Chibi Ranger, let me show you a quick clip. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And here we go. Take a look. That's my old boss, Jack Horner. Yep. Yeah. And again, this is funny because gender is not like a term that we use in the biological sciences. Gender is a human term. It has to deal with like human culture and society. You know, gender is like a human construct. It's a societal thing. Biological sex is different, and it's often much squishier in, you know, in the animal world. So yeah, we would say the sex of this dinosaur rather than the gender of this dinosaur, you know? You know, it would be like saying like, oh, what's this dinosaur's occupation or what's its job? It's like dinosaurs didn't have jobs. They might have a niche, you know, like where they had niches. It's like this is what they eat, this is where they live, this is how they kind of make a living in their ecosystem, but you wouldn't say like, oh yeah, what's its occupation, what's its profession? You know, lawyer-saurus. No. In the same way we don't say that like, you know, what's this dinosaur's gender? No, what's its sex, you know? Anyway, I'm being kind of nitpicky about this, but it's kind of funny because when the journalist here is interviewing the scientist, when Leslie Stahl is interviewing Mary Schweitzer, she says, identify gender in a dinosaur, and Mary Schweitzer says, no, identify sex in a dinosaur. It's subtle, but listen for it right here. See? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Pretty cool. That wasn't all. If you want to see the rest of this, I'll give you the link. But we have got to continue on and get into Shuvuya, requested by Murph. It's just an Alverasaur week, isn't it there, Murph? We're printing an Alverasaur on the 3D printer. And now we're going to talk about one. Nell says, how quickly does viviparity evolve in marine species? Like certain marine reptiles and mosasaurs? It does seem to happen, like, shockingly fast, Nell. Which is strange. It's, vivipary? Or viviparity, I guess? I usually say vivipary. Let's see. What's our dinosaur? Excuse me, our elasmosaur. Turangosaurus. There we go. Where did that go? Shoot, do we not have that part? They show on giving birth, don't they? never mind. I'll just show you in Walking with Dinosaurs. Cruel Sea. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. So this is an ichthyosaur. And David Delune, sorry, did I miss one of your messages? Why are you doing a 3, 2, 1 test? So a lot of marine reptiles like this.
For the mothers too. This female is trying desperately to expel her unborn offspring.
So this is a reptile,
She stays near the surface.
Ophthalmosaurus, evolved from land-living reptiles that would have looked something like a lizard, maybe?
To sharks. These predators have acute hearing, and the sound of splashing betrays an animal in distress.
Yeah. But they fully adapted to life in the sea. Yep. And this is actually not the one I want to show you, because no spoilers, but this doesn't end well for her. Let's try.
On the small islands above.
Here we go.
Most sea reptiles.
There we go. And that part is actually changed. We now know that most marine reptiles actually gave birth to live young. Which is kind of funny. These plesiosaurs that you see right here, Cryptocleidos, they didn't actually come up on land. Yeah, the Cryptocleidos here. Yeah, right here. Cryptocleidos, right here on the beach. We now know that these animals actually gave birth to live young too, along with the ichthyosaurs. Yeah. Yep. And so Neuralicia says, my naive self definitely thought to be reptile was not to bear live young. That's not you being naive, Neuralicia. It's not. It's that you were taught wrong. Man, as a paleontologist, this sort of thing really gets my goat. It's really distressing that, like, schools are still teaching, people incorrect science. Like, incorrect classification of living things. So in school, you probably learned, like, oh, there's different kingdoms of animals, or different classes of animals. Yeah. Yeah, like this. There we go. There's mammals, there's birds, reptiles, fish, amphibians, and invertebrates. This is so outdated. So out of date. This is like 17th century stuff right here. And it's still being taught in schools in the year 2023. It is like completely out of date. It is cute. I agree, Fall Machine. But yeah, guacala. Glaudokese, Lilithobo. Glaudokese. Yeah. So animal classification. Here, let's watch this little video here. There we go. Okay.
The world is full of many different types of animals.
True.
Some swim. Some fly. Some breathe air.
Yeah.
And some breathe underwater.
Uh-huh. Some can do both.
Some have skeletons. And others don't. To help us understand the differences between the animals in our world, scientists classify or sort animals into different groups that share important characteristics.
Yes and no. So yes, scientists do classify living things. To classify them is just to try and put them into different groups. But today, in the year of our Lord 2023, we understand that the reason that these animals have different traits is because they've evolved different traits, evolving from a common ancestor. We now understand that all life on Earth evolved from a single common ancestor around about 3.5 billion years ago. So you can think of life on Earth as like a big tree like this, with all of these different branches that come off of it. And say we want to go to us. Homo sapiens. There we go. Here, let me check on something. I'll be right back as it zooms in. There we go. Yeah. So we have got close relatives. Bonobos, chimpanzees, gorillas. Go out a little bit further, you get orangutans. And then you get other apes. You get gibbons, siamangs, old world monkeys and apes. So we're all considered primates here. And that's not because, like, oh, well, we have all got fingers and we've got forward-facing eyes and blah, blah, blah. That's not why we're considered primates. We're considered primates because we come from a common ancestor. Came from a primate ancestor and evolved from that. You know? And so classification nowadays isn't really based on what are your common characteristics that you have with other organisms. That can be a clue as to who you evolved from. But it's not the whole story. And the fact that it's not taught that way, it's not taught according to what we actually know nowadays, and the way that scientists actually talk to one another, the way that we actually, like, the way that we talk about classification, that's not taught to kids in school. It's still not. They're still stuck in, like, the 17th century paradigm where, like, fish are separate from amphibians, which are separate from reptiles, which is totally untrue, you know? Strictly speaking, all land-living animals on land that have got bones, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, and birds, those are strictly speaking all a kind of fish because they evolved from a fish. And it's not taught that way in school. And it's really frustrating to me because, like, when I say that, like, you know, you and I right now, me talking, you listening right now and typing in the chat, we're both fishes. Our hands are modified fins. Like, because hundreds of millions of years ago, our ancestors had these same structures, these same bones, you know, one bone, two bones, bunch of bones, fingers, except they're in the fins. It's the same structure, just modified for a different purpose. That's evolution, baby. That's how it works. That sort of thing is not taught in schools for the most part. If you ever learned that in school, you were super lucky. Especially here in the US, almost no kids get to learn about this in school. And frankly, it's because creationists fight tooth and nail to try and keep this sort of thing out. They don't want real biology to be taught because they consider it to be a threat to their beliefs. And I don't know what to say to that kind of thing, you know? So yeah. We're all technically lungfish. I mean, that's true there, Musaica. Sort of. Yeah. Yeah. Let's, let me show you. Go back to here. And we will find our good friends, the lungfish. Lungfish right here. We, as tetrapods, evolved from fishes that had developed lungs. So there you go right there. Lungfishes are right here. Like the Australian lungfish, my favorite lungfish. But then right there, lungfishes and tetrapods. So all of these creatures, from buntings to poison arrow frogs, to lemurs, salamanders, lizards, and opossums, and humans too, we belong to this group called lungfishes and tetrapods. And you go back a little bit further, and lobe-finned fishes, including tetrapods. So yes, you and I, chat, we are lobe-finned fishes. There's a special group of fishes that actually developed limb-like fins. And one group of those fishes, they took those limb-like fins and evolved those into limbs. And that's why we've got arms and legs today.
Check that first, because if they're removed, America loses them forever.
Thank you, Queer Bee. I really appreciate that subscription. Thank you very much. Holy cow. Welcome to the channel. It's great to have you here. Yeah. Thanks for supporting Science Outreach here on Twitch. Yeah. And what did fish evolve from? They evolved from earlier, what we call chordates. So animals that have got kind of a bony notochord. Yeah, well, actually, no. Even before bones evolved, I guess. But vertebrates, and then we have got, there we go, some non-vertebrate creatures like tunicates, excuse me. They're kind of these like sponge-like creatures that are sort of similar. But anyway, fish would have evolved from a creature that looked a lot like this. Let me show you Pikaia. And then maybe a Hycoichthyes. We can probably find a video about that. Pikaia. Here we go. Yeah. So this little critter, it doesn't have jaws, doesn't really have eyes, as I understand it. But this is basically like an early ancestor. It's probably like a slight outgroup, but yeah. Pikaia. An ancestor of the fishes, which is pretty neat. And Hycoichthyes, there you go. Now, let's see if we can find a video for that. Hycoichthyes, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Sorry about the video quality. It's kind of dog water. But, this is like videotaped from a television set. But yeah. Yeah.
This is Hycoichthyes.
Yeah.
The size of your thumbnail, but he's an evolutionary giant. He's the first ever fish, our earliest known ancestor.
And there's still debate as to whether or not Hycoichthyes actually is a true fish or not. But yeah. Yeah.
Because instead of having armor on the outside, he's tough inside. He's evolved a primitive backbone.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
He's the very first vertebrate, forerunner of all future backboned animals, from the dinosaur to the elephant to us.
There you go. Yeah.
His flexible backbone makes him more maneuverable than spineless Anomalocaris. He can scavenge flesh, then dart away unharmed.
Oof. They're eating that guy from the inside out. Yowza. Yeah.
Our tiny backboned ancestors have survived a sea of monsters. But
very cool.
Many more battles ahead.
Yeah. So that's from Walking with Monsters. I'll give you a link to that video. And hang on a minute. Warefleet, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Warefleet says, I'm at Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Keep seeing your name. You're there right now in Dickinson, North Dakota, Warefleet? You're kidding me. I used to work at that museum. Very, very cool. Yeah. That is super awesome. Warefleets, take some pictures and put them in the Discord if you don't mind. I'd love to see it. Warefleet, if you, well, shoot, you should go to the back where they've got the big glass pane. Look into the laboratory there and see if you see anybody working. You might catch a glimpse of Denver Fowler or Liz Friedman Fowler. Or, some of the other people there, yeah. Yeah. But a few of the things that you see up on the walls there, Warefleet, are things that I made. Like, let's see here. I wonder if we can find any pictures that are more recent. There's a big yellow bird that you'll find at the west end of the hall. Big elephant bird silhouette. I made that. Denver asked me to put that together for him. And so I drew out the silhouette and cut it out. And then we were getting ready to paint it. And I don't know if I can find it here. Shoot. But it should be... Here, I bet you I can find that original file on my computer here. Cross your fingers that when I open up this other drive, it doesn't crash the stream. But, there we go. Let's see. Search for folder Dickinson. But yeah, I was making this big silhouette of an elephant bird, life size. It's like 10 feet tall. And I was talking to Denver, like, what color should we paint it? And he was like kind of thinking this over. And then I jokingly said, whatever you do, don't paint it yellow, or people are gonna call it Big Bird. And Denver, who has a bit of a mischievous streak for sure, guess what color he decided to paint it? He made me paint it canary yellow. So yeah. These monster. Oh, very cool, Warefleet. Awesome. Very cool. There, I'm looking for that file, and it might take a minute. But yeah. Was really neat meeting. Oh, you got to meet him? That's super cool, Warefleet. That's super, super cool. Denver Fowler, he was my mentor for a long time when I lived in Montana, and I've got tremendous respect for him. And I'm actually working on getting a paper published with him this month, so yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. If any of you are ever in North Dakota, make sure you stop by the Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. That's way out on the western edge of the state. And, yeah. Actually, Warefleet, if you're still there, you can see a dinosaur that I discovered. Yeah, see if you can go find Count Tricula, big Triceratops frill. Which is a dinosaur that I found. Let's see here. I think there might even be a photo on their website. And if I see live plants there from you, very cool, Warefleet. Very, very cool. And you got to see Count Tricula? Awesome. That is super cool. Yeah. Sorry, this is too big. Research, fieldwork. There's me in that photo there. There's my boot right here. Right there. Yeah. Let's see. Paleontology staff? Where's the photos with me? Yeah, there's me right there. Yeah! On the home page. There's Jack Wilson, discoverer of Daspletosaurus wilsoni. There's Denver Fowler himself. I don't know who this dingus is. And then there is Warwick Fowler, Denver's father, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. But he was, it was always wonderful being in the field with Warwick. Him and Denver would bicker back and forth, but it was always entertaining. But, you know, Denver and his dad actually got along really well. Yeah. So, yeah. Get some pictures for Discord. All right. You get those. Thank you, Warefleet. I appreciate you. And if any of you are ever in Dickinson, North Dakota, make sure that you visit the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Pound for pound, I think the greatest dinosaur museum in North America. Oh, and yeah, shoot. Claws, award-winning models of feathered dinosaurs. Let's take a look at that. Here we go, scientific publications. There's me again, shoot. But where's Trurarchunkus? There we go, right there. Yeah. Very nice. Captain Hook of the Prairie. The very same dinosaur that we are printing right now. And Mayor Space. Denver's very proud of his cowboy hat. Yeah. Anyway, there's little Triarchunkus there. Wrong button. And there's the tail printing. This is a dinosaur that, well, Jack Wilson really found the thing de resistance for Triarchunkus. But here is my sculpt of this dinosaur. And, it is currently printing right now. We're printing the tail. And once it's done, tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be able to put it up there on the shelf. But, uh-oh, what are you doing, printer?
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
The Lenino gifted
Oh, it had a collision. Shoot. And thank you, Lenina, for gifting Plockman's mustard. Hey, I appreciate that. Good stuff. Excellent. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, anyway. Triarchunkus, Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Very, very cool. If you'd actually like to watch Denver talk about fieldwork at the Badlands Dinosaur Museum, you can check out the Fieldwork Report videos here. And I don't know if I may have taken some of those photos. But anyway, the 6th annual field report for the Badlands Dinosaur Museum is here. You can find it up on YouTube. It is good stuff. I just watched it when I was on the exercise bike a couple weeks ago. And, yeah, I need to watch the rest of these, honestly. But yeah, very cool stuff. Denver's been doing pretty well in like, you know, promoting all of this work. It's cool stuff. Yeah. So anyway, check it out. And I'm gonna see what's up with the 3D printer. It keeps running into trouble here. So let me see about that. All right. Part of it was sticking up, and I had to tamp it down. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anywho. Good stuff. Now, we were talking about Triarchunkus, this dinosaur like here, this Alvarezsaur. And Alvarezsaurs are such weird, cool little dinosaurs. I wonder if we can find a nice little YouTube video about them. Oh wait, shoot. We were... Sorry. We were, in the midst of discussing animal classification and all that. Yeah. Anyway, here, let's continue here, shall we?
Monsters,
Yeah.
clams,
Here.
and many more creatures. On land, most invertebrates are fairly small. But in the water, they may grow to much larger sizes, as the water will support them even without a skeleton.
True. All this is true, but let's get to the classification part.
Vertebrates make up less than
Yeah, here we go.
Usually lumped together with bony fish and just called fish.
Yeah.
The 4 remaining classes of vertebrates will all be very familiar. Amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals.
Yep. And I wonder if they'll talk about how birds are actually a kind of reptile. Because birds evolved from dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are a kind of reptile. And reptiles are a kind of vertebrate, and all vertebrates are a kind of fish. Yeah.
Let's look at the characteristics that make an animal a fish. Fish live in the water, and they can breathe underwater.
Okay. So these are actually different clades of fish. This is basically like taking fish and making it a grade rather than a clade.
Use gills, not lungs, to get oxygen from the water around them.
Unless they're lungfish.
Fish have scales and fins. They are cold-blooded.
Unless they're tuna or sailfish or any other number of fish that actually generate their own body heat, in which case they're not cold-blooded. So this is also not strictly speaking true. I mean, a lot of this stuff is like, it's tried to make, they try to make it extra simple just for simplicity's sake. But in doing that, they're kind of masking how incredibly diverse these different groups are, and also how they're almost like Russian nesting dolls, where like all vertebrates are a kind of fish, and if that were taught to students earlier on, people wouldn't be so confused by this sort of thing, you know? So yeah.
Which
Anyway,
means that they cannot control their own body temperature.
some of them
which
can.
changes based on the temperature of the environment around them. Most fish.
And of course, while they're saying that, they show tuna. This is at the, looks like it's at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, those yellowfin tuna. They actually do generate their own body heat.
Also lay eggs.
Not all fish lay eggs. Definitely not.
Amphibians are a group of animals that include frogs, toads, newts, salamanders,
And Sicilians. Sicilians, too. Yeah.
Amphibians, like fish, are cold-blooded. Unlike fish, amphibians can live on land and in the water.
They, strictly speaking, are a kind of fish, honestly. But yeah.
They have smooth, moist skin.
Anyway, I hope I get this idea across to you at this point, that, like, we're not going to watch this whole thing. I hope I got the idea across to you that the classification system that most people learn in school is woefully incomplete and out of date, and it doesn't take into account evolution. Common ancestry, you know? So yeah. Octonauts are more informative than this, says Lilith Hobo. Octonauts is pretty decent, actually. I saw they had a coelacanth clip, didn't they? Yeah. And thank you, Pontius Pilot.
Pilot gifted a tier 1 sub to Darklander71.
Thank you, Pontius Pilot. I really appreciate you. Yeah. And Museka, that video was too sweet. I'm sorry. And Indy says, I feel like they don't give kids enough credit for what they can understand. Agreed. I totally agree. For one thing that I've learned over time is that kids are usually much, much smarter than they get credit for being. And kids often understand things better than adults do when you're talking about, like, biology and stuff like that, you know? Especially when you're talking about dinosaurs, for instance. When I'm talking to an adult audience about dinosaurs, I've got to dumb things down significantly, as opposed to when I'm just talking to a group of kids. Kids typically get some of this stuff a lot easier than adults do. Yeah. And also, one thing that I've noticed, you know, from years of being a teacher, and this is important, kids hate being talked down to. They really, really don't like it. And when you have, like, an adult who doesn't really know how to act around children, they will, like, talk down to kids in a way that a lot of kids, especially, like, particularly smart kids, they hate that. In my experience, the people who are best around kids, you know, they're just little people, you know? Treat them as human beings. Don't talk down to them. Don't talk to them like they're stupid. And they're much more, you know, eager to hear what you have to say when you're not clearly talking down to them, you know? So yeah. And tell them, well, you might want to use different language than that, Punches Pilot, but yeah, sure. I know what you mean. No, you're good. But we try and keep this chat PG rated because I do have kids who show up here, you know? Some of my former students show up here in chat, or they used to. It's been a while. But yeah. Burnslot says, can confirm, was once small human. There you go. Burnslot's now a large human, but can still remember that time of smallness. Yeah. And Mayor of Space says, my nephew is obsessed with the episode of Octonauts with the long-armed squid. He watched it several times a day and had the entire thing memorized. He liked it because the cat character, Quasi, was under the impression that the long-armed squid was a sea ghost. Okay, interesting. See, but, like, kids get intensely interested in stuff like this. Sometimes they get fixated on it, and a lot of adults will, like, roll their eyes at this, and they're like, why are you finding joy and wonder in the world? Don't you know that the world is a cold and cruel place? And you should never get enthusiastic about anything? And, you know, sometimes I feel like a lot of modern schooling is basically designed to, like, destroy any wonder that kids have, any passion for learning that they might have, and just make them kind of, you know, dead-eyed, compliant workers. It seems sometimes like that's what, maybe not what school was designed to do, but that's the outcome oftentimes. So yeah, I don't know. That sort of enthusiasm should be celebrated. And, like, I really hope that your nephew, Mayor Space, got more information about long-arm squids and was able to let this enthusiasm blossom into a larger passion for ocean life. So yeah, feed kids' interest. Exactly, Creatrix Brit. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Children are the most wonderful part of humanity. I think it's often true, Brit. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. And kids ought to be taught proper science. You know? Yeah. Hang on a minute. Where is that? I think I have that clip timestamped. But yeah, here we go. So this is from speaking about, like, classification and the teaching of proper biological science in school. Like, most people don't ever actually get to learn about biology in school, like, in the way that biologists actually practice it, you know? Talking about evolution. And here's a neat little clip from a video about this big court trial when, like, some creationists were trying to get creationism into some public schools in Pennsylvania, out in Dover, Pennsylvania, out in rural Pennsylvania. Didn't go well. And so, anyway, there was, like, a lawsuit over this. There was a big court trial, and a paleontologist, Kevin Padian, was brought in to testify about this. And anyway, you'll see that in here.
Proposed. The reporters in the courtroom were just amazed that we knew all this stuff. And how come they hadn't learned about this stuff before? And the reason is it's not in textbooks because the creationists fight so hard to keep it out. That's been a big influence.
The court
absolutely
took a break, and I remember the judge saying something like, you know, biology class adjourned, you know, for lunch. And he was, you know, smiling, and it was clear that we had the judge interested in science.
Professor of integrated biology.
Lawyers for the parents may have impressed the judge and reporters.
Anyway, yeah, it's this is a cool little documentary about this. I think it actually won some sort of a big journalistic prize, something very prestigious. But it's called Judgment Day: Intelligent Design on Trial, and it's actually a wonderful documentary to watch if you want to have kind of an introduction to what biology is and how evolution is crucial to it's the fundamental, like, foundational principle in biology is that living things are alive and they reproduce and their young are a little bit different from their parents, and so populations change over time. Evolution is the fundamental principle in biology. If you don't understand evolution, you do not understand biology. This talk's all about that, and I'd recommend taking a look. It's really, really good stuff. Very well-made little documentary there. Yeah. And Sassy Catastrophe, I know what that's like, Sassy Catastrophe. Believe me. I'll tell you some stories. But yeah. Yeah. And Yu Moon says, kids just need to be allowed to be interested. Parents used to let me pick out any book from the library and just get me to read it. At some point, ended up reading books about rock sediments as a 10-year-old. I know exactly what you mean too, Yu Moon. I know what you mean, Moon. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Denver says, "Hi, oh, awesome. Thank you, Golganek, for reposting that from Warefleet. What channel on Discord? Shoot, I don't know. I don't go into the Discord often enough. Just pick one, Warefleet. Well, I'll go find it. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. And Britt says, I got the chance to teach my daughter the kindergarten version of evolution and traits after she asked about a gorilla we saw at the zoo. It literally made me cry because it was knowledge I was denied until my 20s. And I studied biology at university. It was a really beautiful moment to pass that knowledge on. That is beautiful, Britt. Holy cow. That's... that makes my heart swell. Holy moly. Yeah. I didn't get to learn about evolution in school either. I had to learn about it on my own. Yeah. Yeah, and that's true for, honestly, for most people in the US. Most kids who go through the public school system, they don't end up learning about evolution until maybe they're in college. You know? It's like taking a physics class, but the teachers are not allowed to teach you about gravity. You know? They just can't really talk about it. It's nuts. You know? Here, hold that thought. Let me check on something real quick. Yeah. Okay, we're good. I thought I heard a screeching noise from that. But yeah, there's actually like a joke among biologists, though. Biologists, evolutionary biologists, paleontologists, geologists, that in the US, if you want your kids to learn about evolution in school, send them to a Catholic school if you can afford it. Because the Catholic Church doesn't seem to have really any problem with biology, with evolution, which is great. So if you send your kids to a religious Catholic school, they're actually more likely to learn about biology than they are if you send them to a public school. Because, frankly, there's a lot of creationist influence in U.S. public schools. Oh, yeah. Yeah, anyway, somebody in chat was making a similar point, that they went to a Catholic school and got to learn about evolution. And it's like, yeah, that's because you went to a Catholic school. You got a better science education than just about anybody, probably. So, yeah. Yeah. That was your experience. There you go, Pontius Pilate. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And Birds of Denon? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Can I find a quote about that? Let me just try real quick. Let's see. Let's try that. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, shoot. Hang on a minute. This is from the New York Times, which means I've got to open it up in another browser. Because it won't work on this browser. Haha, here we go. Yeah. Evolution takes a backseat in U.S. classes. Yeah. I've yet to meet a Catholic school teacher who skips evolution, Eugenie Scott said. So yeah, yeah. And two popes, Pius XII in 1950 and John Paul II in 1996, have endorsed the idea that evolution and religion can coexist. Not only can they have to. Shoot. It's like saying Can, you know, can religion and bananas coexist? You know? There's got to be one, like, we're always going to have bananas, you know? Or, I mean, it's a stupid example, but I don't know. It's like, it's a thing. It's out there. Deal with it. Holy cow. Don't set yourself up for failure by denying it. You know? Yeah. And yeah, Eugenie Scott, personal hero of mine, Golganek. It was wonderful being able to meet her a few years ago. Very, very cool. Yeah. Anyway. And Scout says, that's crazy not learning about evolution. It's like not learning simple math. I agree, Scout. Yeah, it is crazy. And it's unfortunately super common for kids in the US to not learn about evolution. You know? Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. Let's see if I can find a... Alright, well here is Dr. Eugenie C. Scott explaining the idea of evolution to the Texas Board of Education. Oh boy. Texas is critically important for science education in the U.S. because Texas apparently buys all of their school books at once, like for the entire state. And so Texas can basically dictate what gets put into school textbooks, because if you're a school book publisher, say you're a company publishing a biology textbook, and you know there's a lot of people who live in Texas, and we want to sell textbooks in Texas, you want Texas to buy your school textbooks, then you'll like tailor it to what school boards in Texas think or feel. And so maybe you're a kid in Delaware or Wyoming or Alaska. You might be reading a textbook that has been like specifically tailored to fit the whims and peccadillos and feelings of school board members in the state of Texas, because it's such a big state, and apparently they all buy their textbooks in bulk for the whole state, like at once. So anyway, here's Eugenie Scott talking to the Texas Board of Education about what evolution is.
Is it quick? Because we need to have other testifiers, please.
Just real quick, I understand now. The question is, you agree that, as the doctor before from UT Austin suggested, that the strengths and weaknesses has not been a problem in the last 20 years, but you're concerned about in the future.
Correct. I think it has not been a problem because it has not been in the textbooks, so therefore it hasn't gotten into the classroom in a systematic way.
Are you aware that in the last 20 years we have not had a section on intelligent design or creationism, and there is no amendment right now in the TEACs or no amendment to be proposed to include intelligent design or creationism?
That's correct.
If you're watching from outside the U.S. right now, you probably think all of this is crazy, and you're right. Holy cow, you're right. This is nuts.
Through the back door.
One final question with the follow-on. Had there ever been any evidence of evolutionary fraud?
Of course.
Should we be allowed to teach that as examples of bad science?
Certainly. Just like you can teach examples of political chicanery.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Ms. Scott. I'd just like to make one just very quick
that
statement.
Wasn't an editorial comment. I really don't misunderstand.
No. The State Board, if you go back and listen to the actual adoption of textbooks back in in 2003, the board did rule that they did have the weaknesses. That was the debate. Even Kenneth Miller came and spoke to the board in 1997. Will Davis asked if...
Anyway, wait, is that it? Oh, I thought she was going to give a speech. Ah, shoot. Anyway, gosh darn it. I do have a clip somewhere in here. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah.
My name is Abigail Lustig. I'm a professor in the history department at UT Austin. I'm a historian whose particular professional expertise is as a historian of science. And
so, I don't know. I'm just going to say briefly that there are many wonderful people in the state of Texas. Lenina and Blue are two of them. And it's all too easy, you know, to make fun of Texas for being backwards and, you know, yeah. I mean, you all know the phrase. You've heard it a million times, like, don't mess with Texas. You know, shoot. You know that's not fair or nice. Don't mess with Texas, you know? And yeah, but here's a resident of the state of Texas. And anyway, there's a lot of good people fighting for the truth in Texas. Here's one of them. Yeah.
Especially a historian of biology and of evolution. I've published quite widely on that subject, many articles, and edited a book. And I've come to speak to you today on the basis of that professional expertise.
There you go, Stavros. Yeah, that's a thing. Yep.
Speaking to that particular expertise, I would like to commend you on the standard that calls on students to assess the arguments for and against the proposed revision, that is, to assess the arguments for and against universal common descent. This is, in fact, an excellent TEKS. It's just in the wrong place. It should be, in fact, in the history TEKS.
There you go. So TEKS is an acronym for, it's something to do with, like, history of... No. It's something... I forget, but it's an acronym about teaching standards.
Very, very lively arguments for and against the theory of common descent that went on in the 10 or 15 years after the publication 150 years ago this year of Darwin's Origin of Species. Darwin's Origin of Species made two separate arguments, and this is something that is often conflated, and I've heard it here so today. One was a historical question. Have, in fact, species modified over time? Have lineages modified over time? Darwin argued in the Origin that they had, and he drew on a very wide array of evidence from different parts of biology to argue this, from biogeography, from systematics, from comparative anatomy, from embryology, and from elsewhere. The second part was to argue that if this were a historical fact, to ask how it had occurred, for which he proposed a mechanism, natural selection.
Yep.
The reception of these two parts of Darwin's theory were...
Anyway, this is a little bit more dry than I remember it being, so I'll give you the link to this, and you can watch the rest of it later if you'd like to. But basically, she just makes an impassioned plea for kids to be taught actual science in school, you know? Yeah.
Weakness, especially when linked as it is here to...
Anyway, yeah, this is not a C-SPAN channel, you know? This is not the sort of thing that we normally watch. I remember it being a little more, you know, a little more crowd-pleasing than that, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to our dinosaur deep dives here, shall we? We had one for Shuvuia from Murph. Murph, are you still here right now? If you are, we will do your dinosaur deep dive presently. Yeah. Speaking of dinosaurs, hey Jim, how you doing? And Murph is here. How you doing, Murph? Welcome. Okay. Yeah. So the dinosaur that I'm currently 3D printing is an Alvarezsaur. This is a dinosaur that I'm one of the authors on for the original descriptive paper. Triarchunkus. This is an Alvarezsaur, and one of the most complete Alvarezsaurs ever found anywhere is from Mongolia. Shuvuia is its name. Here is its skeleton. I wish that rhymed, but it didn't. Shuvuia is its name. Here is its skeleton. And it's small. It's a small little Alvarezsaur. Yeah. And there's Mononychus there in purple, which is a little bit smaller than our Triarchunkus, who's a little bit bigger than that, it seems. Shuvuia is there in the blue. And I think Shuvuia is from a different formation than Mononychus, right? So they can't be juvenile and adult, right? I think Shuvuia is from the Namek formation and Mononychus is from the Jacta or something. Let's see. Oh, it's from the Jacta formation. Okay, and Mononychus is from the Namek? But anyway, an incredibly weird, cool little dinosaur, Shibuya. And this animal actually had preserved feathers, which is... It might be the only dinosaur from Mongolia with preserved feathers. Not just quill knobs, not just like some sort of indication that the animal had feathers, but it straight up had preserved feathers on it, which is really neat. Yeah. And it's friend-shaped, says Golganek. Sure, yeah. There you go. The name Shibuya, desert Thai, means desert bird. So I guess the name Shibuya means bird? The name Shibuya is derived from the Mongolian word shuvu, meaning bird. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And here we go. This was pretty neat. I wonder if we can find a YouTube video about the nocturnal habits paper. Yeah. From something called Raptor Chatter. Let's take a look at this.
Hi everyone, Ezekiel Callahan here to talk to you about Shibuya or Shibuya, depending on how exactly you want to say it.
Shibuya.
It's actually one of the best known allosaurids. A very strange group of dinosaurs with essentially just a single claw in their front hands. And it's known from the Gobi Desert.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with dinosaur media, you might actually know it from the documentary Dinosaur Planet.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh no! Skip forward. We're doing a deep dive on this dinosaur. I don't want to show it getting absolutely wrecked by an Oviraptorosaur.
Study probably isn't the most correct depiction you'll see, and that's because it's very likely that Shibuya was actually nocturnal. The first piece of evidence to help support this is an enlarged scleral ring.
I do kind of wonder about that.
The ring is essentially a bone that fits around the eye that
Yep.
helps attach the muscles of the iris that help the pupil dilate and contract.
So this is something that's actually really, really common in non-mammalian tetrapods. Non-mammalian vertebrates, actually. It's also really common in you know, various osteichthyon fishes. Osteichthyon fishes in general, I suppose. But the scleral ring is a little ring of bones, excuse me. Also called the sclerotic ossicles. So these are bones inside the eyeball, or sometimes surrounding the eyeball, in various species. You've got it in many species of chondrichthyon fishes, in teleost fishes, like that, and in birds, and in dinosaurs, and reptiles. But crocodiles don't have it, and mammals don't have it, for whatever reason. They just don't. And that's freaky, says Scout. Well, I mean, they would probably think that it's freaky that we don't have any bones in our eye. It's like, shoot, what happens if you got hit in the eye? It just squishes like Jell-O? And then your eye is just like broken? It's got no bones in there to support it? What's wrong with you? You know? But yeah. Scleral rings. So Shibuya has got a big old scleral ring right there, like a lot of dinosaurs did. I do kind of wonder about this. This is a paper that came out that said that this animal was probably nocturnal. And let's see if we can find it real quick, actually. Here we go. Evolution of vision and hearing, modalites and theropod dinosaurs. Dinosaur that hunted in the dark. There we go. From phys.org. There we go. Yeah. Let's see. To assess vision, the team looked at the scleral ring, a series of bones surrounding the pupil of each species. Like a camera lens, the larger the pupil can open, the more light can get in, enabling better vision at night. By measuring the diameter of the ring, scientists can tell how much light the eye can gather. This is pretty cool. There's a barn owl skull, eye socket, and here it is with that scleral ring right there. Pretty cool. Barn owls, of course, have got gigantic eyes. And they've got, here's the inner ear right here. The semicircular canals. They've got excellent hearing also. So yeah. And here it is for... I'm sorry, what? What is this? There we go. Okay, so I guess that is... This is the back of the skull? This is where it connects to the neck, I think? This is like fragmentary, so it's difficult for me to parse. What's going on here? I don't... Huh. I guess there's the inner ear. Pretty big inner ear there. Presumably had excellent hearing. Yeah. The eyes of Shibuya were also of note, as they had some of the proportionally largest pupils yet measured in birds or dinosaurs, suggesting they could see very well at night. And here are some reconstructions of these dinosaurs modeled on owls. I love it. Yeah. That is pretty neat. Shibuya as an owl-like dinosaur. Pretty interesting. That is adorable, isn't it, Gojira? Yeah. And there it is, listening to this. I think these symbols emanating from here represent a beetle swearing at them. Just cussing them out. And they're like, oh, let's listen to this. Maybe let's eat this guy, you know? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Did they actually... So, when we saw the Mononychus in Prehistoric Planet, remember that? I know we watched this yesterday. We're going to watch it again, so I hope you're okay with that.
Mononychus is a desert specialist.
So they gave it a face like a barn owl here, but not...
Hypersensitive directional hearing gives her a mental map of this hollow log.
Yeah.
What lies within?
There you go, Lenina. What's that? Something tasty. Ooh.
She now uses the weapon that gives this hunter its name. Mononychus. Single giant claw. Just what she needs to open the termite's nest.
I just had a realization. Oh man, this would make an excellent commercial.
And she has another special piece of...
Where's the cream filling?
A flexible tongue twice the length of her head.
Yeah.
An excellent protein-packed meal. If only termites weren't quite so irritating.
Does anybody else remember those commercials? And I feel like, you know, like... Well, let me just look it up. Yeah. Does anybody else remember this?
Hey, where's the cream filling? Now that's the stuff. Post this.
Don't eat these. This is not a commercial. Anyway, but yeah. You could envision a very similar thing happening with Mononychus or Shibuya or Trurarchunkus, some kind of Alvarezsaur. You know? You could picture it doing the same thing. You could have a very similar kind of premise for your commercial there. With one of these guys investigating and going, yeah. I don't know, they puncture something with their claws and they go, where's the cream filling? I don't know. Yeah. And Matt Suarez is the worst commercials ever. I love those. Welcome, Matt Suarez. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. And shoot, we'll do like almost like a station break like they do on the radio, you know? You're watching Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. As a dinosaur paleontologist, I dig up dinosaurs across the American West with various museums and other institutions. I study dinosaurs, I publish on them in the scientific literature, and nowadays I talk about dinosaurs 5 days a week right here on Twitch. Let me know if you've got any questions about dinosaurs, natural history, extinction, evolution, all that good stuff. You let me know. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. So yeah, this little guy tearing into this log, trying to get some termites, using those claws. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Yeah. How did my printing turn out? Cruxy, I am printing an animal very similar to this. Another Alvarezsaur. Yeah, basically this was like what I was going for when I sculpted it. We're printing the tail right now. The third and final half of the model. But this is what we got so far. Yeah. Trirarchunkus. Captain Hook is what the dinosaur's name actually means. Trirarchunkus. Captain Hook. But it turned out pretty well so far. We're printing the tail currently. Might even be done by the end of the stream, depending on how late the stream goes. So yeah. Hang on. Keep an eye on that. Let me check on something real quick here. Hang on. Okay. Yeah. It has 3 halves? Yeah. Spawn boiled egg. Charlie's Dragon's right. You know? I'm not a mathematologist. I'm a paleontologist. Yeah. You know, some people say that there can only be 2 halves. Some people say there can be 3 or more. And you know what? I don't have a strong opinion about that. You know, I don't have a horse in that fight. So yeah. And there you go, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah. Mathematics are a societal construct. There you go, Dorcosity. Yeah. Now we're here. Let's get back to our dinosaur deep dive here. Shuvuia.
With it being so enlarged in Shuvia, it helps us suggest the animal was spending a lot of its time with its pupil as wide open as possible, which would help it absorb more light so that it could see better in dark conditions.
You know, I do kind of wonder about that, because if Shuvuia is just a juvenile, then it would tend to have larger eyes, you know? How many specimens do we actually have of this animal? Let's see. And do we know, has it ever been histologically sampled? Do we actually know if it was full grown? Because as we all know, juvenile animals tend to have larger eyes. Puppies have got big, cute eyes. And then, you know, as the animal matures, the eyes become kind of more normal size. Is Shuvuia just a juvenile? Is that why it's so small, too? Yeah, let's see. Specimen IGM 100/977 of Shuvuia from small hollow tube-like structures. Yep. So it had feathers, but what about... How many specimens do we actually have of this animal? I'm not seeing a clear indication of that. Yeah. They're known from 2 locations within the Didrocta Formation. Yeah. How many specimens do we actually have? Because if they're both just juveniles, then they're going to have larger eyes, just as a matter of course. Yeah. So anyway, this, where's our paper? There we go. Yeah. Did they actually look like owls like that? I don't know. It's a good question. It was a small dinosaur about the size of a chicken, which, again, speaks to it potentially just being a juvenile. Maybe that's why it had such large eyes. But it lived in the deserts of what is now Mongolia. It had a fragile bird-like skull, brawny weightlifter arms with a single claw on each hand. Well, where did we see that before? There you go, right there. Look at those. I did exaggerate the claws on this a little bit, just for teaching purposes, but yeah. Anyway, very cool. I actually have a research project that I'd love to pursue on these guys once I finish some of my current stuff that I'm working on. But I've got a paper I've been dreaming up about this. Maybe I can finish. Maybe I can get that done in the fall. We'll see. Yeah. It had a fragile bird-like skull, brawny weightlifter arms with the single claw in each hand, and the really, really short and stocky arms, and long roadrunner-like legs. This odd combination of features has baffled scientists since its discovery in the 1990s. With the new data on Shibuya's senses, the scientific team hypothesizes that, like many desert animals, Shibuya would have foraged at night, using its hearing and vision to find prey like small mammals and insects, using its long legs to rapidly run that prey down, using its strong forelimbs to pry the prey out of burrows or shrubby vegetation. Sure. Yeah. Nocturnal activity, digging ability, and long hind limbs are all features of animals that live in deserts today, said Conieri. But it's surprising to see them all combined in a single dinosaur species that lived more than 65 million years ago. Yeah. And this is in the journal Science. Let me see if I can use some science back alleys to nab this paper so we can look at it. Ooh, come on, come on, come on. Yeah! Good stuff. Yeah, here's the original scientific paper. I try to, whenever I can, show you the original literature. Because, shoot, let's face it. In most cases, when people are hearing about scientific studies, you know, your average person, when you're hearing about a scientific study, where are you hearing about that from? On the internet, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, maybe, if you ever hear about stuff there. Or you're hearing about it on the news. You're hearing about it on the radio. You know, you'll have some sort of, yeah, you know, some like goofy drive time radio morning zoo kind of thing. Like, did you hear that scientists are now saying that drinking a glass of wine a day is actually good for your health? Like, wow, I better go do that. You know, stuff like this. A new scientific study says that. Like, most people aren't actually getting science directly. They're getting it through some sort of middleman like that. Somebody who's going to sensationalize it, make it more goofy, you know. Yeah. Yeah, the DJ 3000. Here we go. Yeah.
This is the DJ 3000. It plays CDs automatically, and it has 3 distinct varieties of inane chatter.
Hey, how about that weather out there? Whoa, that was the caller from hell. Well, hot dog, we have a wiener.
Man, that thing's great. Don't praise the machine.
If you don't get that kid an elephant by tomorrow, the DJ 3000 gets your job.
Looks like those clowns in Congress did it again. What a bunch of clowns.
How's he keep up with the news like that?
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, press X for a Simpsons clip. Yeah, there you go, Lenina. You know me too well. There's always a Simpsons clip. You get your science news on Twitch? Well, I mean, rat acid, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, well, I like to think so anyway. As long as you're not getting your science news from, I don't know, train ranks or ninjas or ninja? Amaranth or PewDiePie. There you go, Scout. Yeah, exactly. You know, there are some excellent places to get science news on Twitch, or to ask about science news that you heard about in media. If you go to places like Science Streams, you know, 2 professional scientists who run that channel, Belint and Lita. You can go to Rocket Sage. You can come here, for crying out loud, you know? So yeah, I miss Stampy too, Mayor Space. Yeah. So anyway, there's some of those excellent channels there. And is Science live right now? Let's see. Because if they are, yeah. So Belint is doing. Oh, this must be Wacom Wednesday. He's yeah, is doing like a new emote or something like that with the Wacom tablet. Wacom Wednesday. WW. You get it. But anyway, Belint is he's a professional researcher. He's a molecular and systems biologist working on the East Coast of these United States, and his wife Lita is also a molecular and systems biologist, and they have a science channel right here on Twitch. Good stuff, very accessible. You really ought to check them out. And if you've got a question about any kind of wait, hang on, wait, what? Oh no. I've been spotted. Nothing gets past Belint. Nothing gets past Belint. Holy moly. That is that's extraordinary.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, blaming the dinosaurs.
Here, hang on a minute.
And Ocean Machine 117, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in, as well as Mike. Welcome on in, Mike CO3. Thank you for that follow. Now I'm totally thrown.
Yeah. Anyway, go follow Belint if you're not yet doing so. Holy cow. Yeah.
I don't even know, guys. Go check out Danny. Go check out Professor Andrews.
No, go check out Belint. Like right now.
I appreciate it, Let's show off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Good stuff. Go check out Belint at Science Streams. That was uncanny. Holy cow. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Kuzik, I'm glad you think so. Yeah. So Belint doing some excellent science outreach here on Twitch. Like 8 days a week. It's crazy that he's able to do that. So yeah. Yeah, yeah. Anyway. What were we talking about? We're talking about Shibuya, this little dinosaur here. We're talking about this paper. A lot of authors on this paper. In the journal Science. Ooh, la-di-da, one of the highest profile journals in paleontology, the journal Science. You'll excuse me. No more bread and butter for me. I'm off to play the grand piano. The journal Science. But yeah, it's a really cool paper, honestly. I do wish they'd talked more about ontogeny in this. In fact, the word ontogeny doesn't show up once in the manuscript. It is a short paper, like most journals in science are. Most articles in the journal Science are, but yeah, I don't know. The journal Science is honestly not big on ontogeny, even less so than Nature is. So yeah, the fact this animal had such big eyes, is it that it really had gargantuan eyes, or is it more that it's a juvenile, and it very well might be a juvenile, you know? But yeah. Yeah. Gimpleg says, I got to talk about ontogeny in a friend's stream the other day. That is super cool, Gimpleg. That is super cool. Holy moly. Yeah. As we often say here on this channel, ontogeny changes everything. Everything that we understand about dinosaurs, really. Not everything, but, you know, everything. Where's my digital art folder? Hang on a minute. There we go. My portfolio. Ontogeny changes everything. There we go. Ontogeny is the study of how creatures change as they grow and develop. Ontogeny. There we go. There you are. So the evolution in Pokemon isn't actually evolution in biology. That's actually ontogeny. That's one organism throughout its lifespan changing and developing. Ontogeny. Yeah. You get it. Is this an appropriate volume now? Or is it
ontogeny.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Ontogeny.
So yeah, and Rad never used that word before. Love that. Well, you're going to hear a lot more about it, Matt Suarez, because Gimpleg has just requested a dinosaur deep dive, which will allow us to talk all about ontogeny. Holy cow. And you might even hear those same sound clips, those ontogeny sound clips. I think I took them from this video right here.
Ontogeny.
Oh boy. Yeah. This is a... Holy cow. Word of caution right here.
Ontogeny.
This is a controversial subject in dinosaur paleontology. Maybe one of the most controversial subjects in all of dinosaur science at the moment is Torosaurus. And I put quotation marks around it because there are a lot of paleontologists who think that that is like a legit dinosaur, Torosaurus. There are maybe a smaller number of paleontologists, myself included, who think that it's the same dinosaur as Triceratops, that they're not actually separate. Gimpleg has requested a dinosaur deep dive on Torosaurus. So let's dive into this, shall we? We'll talk about what constitutes a new dinosaur.
Ontogeny.
Yeah. Torosaurus here. Here's the one at, I think, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science in Colorado. Torosaurus and Triceratops. Here's an article about that by Riley Black, who writes a lot of articles about dinosaur science. And was Torosaurus really just a grown-up Triceratops? A new paper says no. I don't know. I've dug up several Torosaurus before. I think it is just an adult Triceratops, but yeah. Anyway, here's a link to that article right there. Yeah, by Riley Black. She's a good writer. Check it out. But, let's see. Here's an old TED Talk, which is, yeah. Here. Let's set the stage. Let's go back to the very beginning of this, and let's lay some groundwork here for discussing Triceratops versus Torosaurus. Are they the same animal? Are they not? What's going on with this? Let's check it out. Yeah. And Nell, I did adjust the sound for the ontogeny clip. Hang on a minute. Hang on just a second here. I'll see if I can adjust that for you. It won't let me adjust the properties. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. Nope, that doesn't work either. Hang on. It's not in there either. Alert box, that's not a source. I already tried doing that there, Nell. Here, let's go to here. Wait, log in with Twitch. Try not to dox myself. Here we go. Try volume is already at. It's significantly lower than it. I turned it way down. Let's turn it down to like 8. Save. Oh, wait, no, hang on a minute. No. I know how to do this. Hang on a minute. Gotta go to my Stream Deck and change the settings there. That's why I was so confused. Here we go. It's a different scene. Okay, shoot. Hang on. It's gonna be loud for a minute here. But let me change the volume on that scene. Alright. You ready to plug your ears? We're gonna fix this right now. You ready? Alright, go. Let's do it. Alright, that didn't work. Because I have that as a different scene in here. And here, hang on. Let's try this right here and see if this works. Here we go.
Ontogeny. Ontogeny.
There we go. Sometimes OBS is complicated, you know?
Ontogeny.
But that's better now, right? Is that better? All right. Excellent.
Ontogeny.
Excellent. Man, that was difficult to figure out. Shoot, but if somebody types in ! trike, I think... There we go. Yeah. Ontogeny.
Ontogeny.
Yep. There's the command there. This is why I was so confused. I've got 2 different places where those can be triggered. I can press a button or I can have a moderator trigger it. And so, like, adjusting the volume on that won't affect the one that when I press the button. Anyway, we're all good. And super low sound on that one. Let me adjust that back to 100%. There we go. That should work. Thank you for your patience there. Let's take a look at this. Torosaurus, Triceratops, are they the same dinosaur? Are they not? And there you go, Claire Burr. Yeah.
Ontogeny.
Here we go. TED Talks, you know what they are, blah, blah, blah.
Or clapping of people in different generations. I'm interested in how many are 3 to 12 years old. None, huh? All right, well, I'm going to talk about dinosaurs. Do you remember dinosaurs when you were that age? Okay.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs are kind of funny. I mean, you know.
They are. They're kind of
We're
funny.
We're kind of going a different direction right now. I hope you all realize that, right? So I'll just give you my message up front. Try not to go extinct. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People ask me a lot. In fact, one of the most asked questions I get is,
there you go,
why
Airspace.
do children like dinosaurs so much?
Thanks, Gimpleg. Wait, and Gimpleg, are you taking off, Gimpleg? Shoot, we're talking about your dinosaur deep dive. Well, you can check the VOD later if you want to, I guess. Oh, you're staying. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Gimpleg.
What's the fascination? And I usually just say, well, dinosaurs were big, different, and gone. They're all gone. Well, that's not true, but we'll get to the goose in a minute.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the theme. Big, different, and gone. The title of my talk, Shape-Shifting Dinosaurs, the Cause for a Premature Extinction.
Was this actually the cause for premature extinction, though? That's a big question there. Shoot.
Now, I assume that we remember dinosaurs, and, there's lots of different shapes, lots of different kinds.
And Matt Suarez, you should probably know, this guy is my old boss, Jack Horner. I worked under him at Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman, Montana, for a number of years and collected a bunch of Triceratops and other dinosaurs for the Museum of the Rockies collections. This is kind of the academic milieu that I was brought up in as a young paleontologist.
There's lots of different shapes, lots of different kinds. A long time ago, back in the early 1900s, museums were out looking for dinosaurs. They went out and gathered them up. This is an interesting story. Every museum wanted a little bigger or better one than anybody else had. So
True.
If the museum in Toronto went out and collected a Tyrannosaur, a big one, then the museum in Ottawa wanted a bigger one and a better one.
He's using Canadian cities, for example, because he's in Canada when he's giving this TED Talk.
And that happened
for
all the museums. So everyone was out looking for
And your sister lives in Montana. Very cool. Can I ask where in Montana? I lived in Bozeman for the better part of a decade, but I spent a lot of time out in Jordan, Montana, near Glasgow, Montana, near Havre and Rudyard and areas like Stevensville. Never been there. I've never been there. Matt Suarez, cool. That's not one of the big cities in Montana. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
All these bigger and better dinosaurs. And this was in the early 1900s. By about 1970, some scientists were sitting around and they thought, what in the world? Look at these dinosaurs. They're all big. Where are all the little ones?
Oh, neat, Matt Suarez. Very cool. Yeah.
And they thought about it and they even wrote papers about it. Where are the little dinosaurs?
Gimpleg says, I saw a great hour-long video last night about the University of Alberta Paleontology Department. A lot of grad students talking about their work. I probably worked with some of those graduate students. If you ever saw, like, Betsy Kruk or, who else went to University of Alberta? I don't know. I went to school with Betsy and a few other people. But, yeah, I'll probably know a lot of them. Yeah. And Stevensville is about 40 minutes outside of Bozeman. Oh, interesting. Is it west of Bozeman? Because if it is, it's not between Bozeman and Billings, is it? I don't remember that name. Yeah.
Where are the little dinosaurs? Well, go to a museum, you'll see. See how many baby dinosaurs there are.
Yep.
People assumed, and this was actually a problem, people assumed that if they had little dinosaurs, if they had juvenile dinosaurs, they'd be easy to identify.
So this is key for understanding Torosaurus and Triceratops.
And a littler dinosaur.
Yeah.
But all they had were big dinosaurs. And it comes down to a couple of things. First off, scientists have egos.
It's true.
And scientists like to name dinosaurs.
I think the public perception of scientists is that we're all like, I don't know, we're all completely dispassionate, like middle-aged white men in lab coats, and we're practically like Vulcans, you know?
Because if they're emerging,
Dragon Fairy, thank you for the prime there.
forever.
Holy cow, Dragon Fairy, thank you for that prime sub. I know you only get one of those per month. Thank you for spending it here and supporting science outreach here on Paleontologizing. Good stuff. Yeah.
I'm here to applaud the work of vertebrate paleontologists.
And Bad Dylan, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. How you doing? It's good to have you here. Yeah. There's like a popular perception of scientists that we're all like dispassionate, you know, almost automatons. We're practically robotic. That we, unless you're like a mad scientist, you know? Shoot. Let's do a Google image search for a scientist to see what Google Images thinks of scientists. Yeah. Einstein. This guy's got the wild Einstein hair. But yeah, we all peer through microscopes all day. And we wear white coats. Every single one of these people, except for Einstein, is wearing a white coat. Except, I guess, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Marie Curie. But yeah. Yeah. I like that not everybody in here is a middle-aged white man. That used to be the case when you look at Google Images for scientists. No longer. But anyway, scientists are passionate people. Shoot. Let's see. Where did that go? Here. Let me see if I can find this, but there's a really neat tweet that I found about this a while ago that I really liked. And, where was that? I had to, like, bookmark this, because it's really nice. Let's see. It's a quote about how scientists are often very different from one another. It takes all different kinds of people to be scientists, you know? And it might take me a while to find it. Shoot. Scrolling. But it's a beautiful little quote. Where was that? Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna find it in time. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna shoot. Anyway, it was something like, scientists are not all the same. Some scientists are like artists, you know? Some are like librarians or catalogers. Some scientists are like stenographers. Some scientists are explorers. Some scientists are like musicians. Some scientists are like mystics, you know? Science takes all different kinds of people. We don't all look like this, you know? And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, scientists are human beings, and we have egos. And Jack is totally right about this. Yeah.
It comes down to a couple of things. First off, scientists have egos.
Yep.
Scientists like to name dinosaurs. They like to name anything. Everybody likes to have their own animal that they named. And so every time they found something that looked a little different, they named it something different. And what happened, of course, is we ended up with a whole bunch of different dinosaurs. In 1975, a light went on in somebody's head. Dr. Peter Dodson at the University of Pennsylvania.
Anyway, Peter Dodson realized that dinosaurs don't necessarily grow in the way that that we think that they might. Yeah.
Reptiles grow. And in fact, he used the cassowary as an example.
Yep.
And it's kind of cool. I mean, if you look at the cassowary or any of the birds that have crests on their heads, they actually grow to about 80% adult size before the crest starts to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about that. I mean, they're basically retaining their juvenile characteristics very late into what we call ontogeny. So allometric cranial ontogeny is relative skull growth. Okay? So you can see that if you actually found one that was 80% grown and you didn't know that it was going to grow up to a cassowary, you would think they were two different animals. All right? So this was a problem, and Peter...
So yeah, there you go. A lot of dinosaurs, it seems, they did a lot of growing before they actually adopted their, like, full adult size. So for instance, we've got Triceratops right here.
A of mine at Berkeley, he and I were looking at Triceratops, and before the year 2000, now remember, Triceratops was first found in the 1800s. Before 2000, no one had ever seen a juvenile Triceratops.
Which is crazy. I mean, think about that. Before the year 2000, again, I'll let him say it again, no one had ever seen a juvenile Triceratops. Everyone wanted a big Triceratops for their museums. You know, there was very little interest in bringing back a small specimen to show off or to study. You know, isn't that crazy, Claire Burr? And nowadays we find them all over the place. I've personally dug up several juvenile or subadult Triceratops. But before 2000, nobody had ever found a juvenile Triceratops.
Mine at Berkeley, he and I were looking at Triceratops.
There you go, Stavros.
Before the year 2000. Now remember, Triceratops was first found in the 1800s. Before 2000, no one had ever seen a juvenile Triceratops.
Or dug it up, at least.
There's a Triceratops in every...
They probably found them in the field, but thought, oh, this is too small. I'm not going to dig this up.
...museum in the world.
Yeah.
But no one had ever collected a juvenile.
Yeah, nuts.
And we know why, right? Because everybody wants to have a big one.
Yep.
So everyone had a big one. So we went out and collected a whole bunch of stuff, and we found a whole bunch of little ones. They're everywhere. They're all over the place.
They really are. Yeah.
So we have a whole bunch of them at our museum.
Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman, Montana.
And everybody says because I have a little museum. So you have a little museum, you have little dinosaurs. So
it's actually got one of the world's largest collections of dinosaur fossils. It's not really a little museum.
If you look at the Triceratops, you can see it's changing, it's shape-shifting.
Yep.
As the juveniles are growing up, their horns actually curve.
I actually have a juvenile Triceratops right here in my office. Two of them. There's a skeleton of a juvenile Triceratops right there. Right here, for scale. And here. I really ought to print another version of that skull. This one I made through photogrammetry, and it's not quite as nice as the other one. But yeah, this is the world's smallest baby Triceratops skull. Which you can find at UCMP at Berkeley, just down the road from me in Northern California. In the San Francisco Bay Area. Beautiful, beautiful specimen. But it's not honestly even that small. It's not a hatchling. Just the skull is bigger than the whole egg would have been that this animal would have hatched out of, you know? So yeah. What is this, a museum for ants? Claire, there you go. So yeah, ontogeny. So this same Triceratops skull, right here, is the one that you see right here, and that's also in our sub-badges. The longer you stay subscribed to this channel, the older and bigger and more mature your Triceratops gets. Those are our sub-badges here in the chat. And I want to point that out. Gimpleg, talking about Torosaurus and Triceratops. You'll notice that a number of chatters, Lenina, Claire Burr, Charlie's Dragon. Man, I need to make another one of these badges. Shoot. They've got the fully adult Triceratops, aka Torosaurus. But Thalo says, I love the Too Much badge. It's so cute. That's what it is. That is our baby Triceratops right there. Yes, indeed. And that is based on this skull. Let me put this back, and then I'll show you the illustration that I did for it. Yeah. Our baby Triceratops here. Let me go into that folder. Emotes, etc. Emotes old folder. Here's some of the emotes I did for iOS back when I was still doing those. Okay, here we go. Our baby Triceratops. There we go. Here is our baby Triceratops sub badge based on that skull right there. Yeah. Pretty cute, right? Pretty cute. Look at that big old eye. Their eyes weren't actually that big. I exaggerated them a little bit. But,
Wow, it's not the dinosaur we knew. Just look at that thing. It's not going to be friendly to us.
Christasticus, thank you for the 5 months of support. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Holy cow. Thanks for keeping me here online for the past 5 months. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Good stuff. Yeah. So yeah. There's our little baby Triceratops there. And then the longer you stay subscribed, the older your Triceratops gets. Of course, it starts off as a little egg. And then... where's our super tiny one? Hang on a minute. Man, I made these so long ago. There's our small juvenile right there. Yeah, there we go. No, hang on. That's even smaller than... That's bigger than the one that... Anyway, as these animals grow and mature... Where's our Juvie Trike 3 stage? There we go. There we go. Those horns start to curve backward like that. And as the animal grows and matures... whoop, there it is. This is MOR specimen 1120 right here. These are each based on actual Triceratops specimens that were dug up. Yeah. And then we get to our kind of adult trike there. Right here. And then we get to, this is Triceratops horridus. And then the final form of Triceratops horridus is what we used to call Torosaurus, and what many paleontologists still call Torosaurus. Anyway, yeah. And these are all actually based on real fossil specimens. Like you can see right here, this is a picture I think that I took at Museum of the Rockies. There's a little baby right there. Bigger baby, small juvenile, larger juvenile, larger juvenile, larger, and then etc., etc. Museum of the Rockies is the only museum in the world that actually has a growth series of Triceratops like this that's this complete. No other museum in the world has this many Triceratops specimens that have been properly, well, they've been histosectioned and they've been stratigraphically constrained. So yeah, important stuff here.
It's changing, it's shape-shifting.
Yep.
As the juveniles are growing up, their horns actually curve backwards.
Yep.
And then as they get older, the horns grow forward. And that's pretty cool. If you look along the edge of the frill, they have these little triangular bones.
Yep. We call those epis, epiparietals and episquamosals. The epiparietals attached to the parietal bone, episquamosals attached to the squamosal bone. But we just call them epis for short, EPI, epi. those like little triangular bones. They almost look like little Doritos. Let's get some Dorito emotes in the chat if you know how to do those. There's like little Doritos that are stuck to the edge of the frill, but over time they actually squash down and they fuse on to the edge of the frill, which is really neat. They start off very discreet like this. There's some Doritos. Thank you, Claire Burr, Stavros Golganek, Diagonal Desmodus. Yeah. And then they start to flatten out as the animal matures. And then in a more mature specimen, they're just like little kind of gentle bumps. You know? They're like a mountain in Florida. You know? What would be considered a mountain in the state of Florida? It's just a gentle rise. You know? Like Sugarloaf Mountain. Yeah. This is Sugarloaf Mountain in Florida. Look at that mountain. Behold this grand and beautiful mountain. You know? You remember when you climbed Mount Dora? There you go, Mayor Space. Yeah. Yeah. And Abyssus Abyssum, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. So anyway, those epis start off quite pronounced, like here, and then they eventually recede, flatten out, and they basically turn into like a Florida's version of a mountain, you know? It's like a gentle rise like that. So yeah, that's the name of a local town. There are no mountains in sight. I did not know that, Mayor Space. That's really funny. So anyway. Yeah.
That actually grow big as triangles, and then they flatten against the frill,
yep.
Pretty much like the spikes do on the pachycephalosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because the juveniles are in my collection, I cut them open.
Yep.
And look inside, and the little one is really spongy, and the middle-sized one is really spongy, but what was interesting was the adult Triceratops was also spongy, and this is a skull
what's up with that?
2 meters long.
Holy cow.
It's a big skull.
The skull's like 7 feet long almost.
Another dinosaur that is found in this formation that looks like a Triceratops, except it's bigger, and it's called Torosaurus. And Torosaurus, when we cut into it, has mature bone. But it's got these big holes in its shield, and everybody says, a Triceratops and a Torosaurus can't possibly be the same animal because one of them's bigger than the other one. And it has holes in its frill. And I said, well, do we have any juvenile Torosauruses? And they said, well, no, but it has holes in its frill.
There may actually be some juvenile Torosaurus from lower down stratigraphically. This is kind of what we would expect to find. Really, heterochrony is the key to all of this. And there's a few people who they could absolutely just like silence this debate in one fell swoop by just publishing a couple of papers about this. And they haven't done it yet. I'm not going to say who they are, but yeah.
So one of my graduate students, John Scanella, looked through our whole collection, and he actually discovered that the hole starting to form in Triceratops, and of course it's open in Torosaurus. So that's
the thing. We've got fenestrated Triceratops in collections there. It's just publish on it, please do it.
Transition between Triceratops and Torosaurus, which was pretty cool. So now we know that Torosaurus is actually a grown-up Triceratops. Now, when we name dinosaurs, when we name anything, the original name gets to stick and the second name is thrown out. So, Torosaurus is extinct.
Yep.
Triceratops, if you heard the news, a lot of the newscasters got it all wrong. They thought Torosaurus should be kept and Triceratops thrown out, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, in fact, shoot, we can find that right here from D News. Here we go. Garbage. Garbage. Really, really poor science reporting here. Take a look.
Triceratops is a super recognizable dinosaur, but we are basing our idea of our Triceratops on something that is not so solid.
They completely got, like, just utter dog water. Completely botched this.
Thanks for watching D News. I loved dinosaurs as a kid. Maybe you did too.
And that is a major red flag. If somebody says, I loved dinosaurs, red flag. Why past tense? You know? Why is that past tense there? Huh? Loved dinosaurs.
Howdy gang, Trace here. Thanks for watching D News. I loved dinosaurs as a kid. Maybe.
Why don't you still love them? What happened to you? When did you die inside? You know?
You did too. One of my favorites was the Triceratops. It had these big spikes on its head and
Horns. They're called horns.
it had like a shield carapace. Who was not
Frill. It's called a frill. Oh boy.
here for that? Anyway, recently some research.
And so this is like, think about the budget that they had for producing videos like this. It's I don't know. The fact that they got these things such basic concepts wrong is really distressing.
Like a shield carapace. Who was not here for that? Anyway, recently some research was published that said the Triceratops was not real. Firstly, a Triceratops skeleton is an extremely rare find. Like, there are only a handful of them on Earth.
No, not at all. Triceratops is one of the most common dinosaurs on the planet. There's probably 1,000 Triceratops specimens in museums around the world. Like, Triceratops might honestly be the most common dinosaur. Agua de perro, claro que sí, Golganek. Dog water, complete dog water, totally wrong. This is, oh my goodness, awful, awful.
Said the Triceratops was not real.
Also, that's not what the research said.
Research was published that said the Triceratops was not real.
Not true. It said that Torosaurus is just an adult Triceratops, in which case Torosaurus would be, if we're going to use stupid phrases like not real, then it would be Torosaurus, not Triceratops. You got it completely backwards.
Firstly, a Triceratops skeleton.
There you go, Pezzy. Welcome back, Pezzy. How you doing?
A handful of them on Earth.
And no, I've dug up probably close to 30 Triceratops specimens just myself over the years, working under Denver Fowler. Holy cow, so many trikes. So many. Holy cow.
Out in Wyoming this week, paleontologists unearthed a new Triceratops skeleton. They already think that this might be the most complete skeleton ever found, which means that there's half of it. There's half of it. The Triceratops was discovered in the late 19th century by American paleontologist Othniel Marsh. He also discovered the Torosaurus, which he believed to be a cousin of the Triceratops.
Yeah, and this much is true. Marsh described both of these, and you know that Torosaurus was a different dinosaur from Triceratops.
Many skeletons unearthed, but only 3 good skeletons.
And that's not true at all. I've personally dug up more good skeletons of Triceratops than that.
3. That is not a lot. And back in the 1880s, Marsh based his entire species designation on even less. Most of the time, paleontologists only dig up bits and pieces of whole skeletons.
So this is, I just saw these yesterday, Tuesday morning. It's the UCMP Berkeley, Triceratops, and there's the baby. Nowadays, this is on the other side over there, and there's a third one in between. I was there to help install this way back in, what was that, like 2008 or something? I was there. Let me see if I can find that. See if I can find you a photo. Come on now. It'll be there in backdrop, maybe? Scroll way down to the bottom. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Here is that cast right there. There's paleontologist Mark Goodwin, now retired from UCMP, unpacking this thing. There's Dr. Patricia A. Holroyd. This is where that juvenile skull used to be. Now it's on the other side over here. And there's that. There's Pat with it. Again. Talking about it. Oh, and then there's... I guess I don't have the photo of me. Shoot, but I've got a photo of me holding it there, which is cool. But yeah. Yeah. And Last of the Dinosaurs asks, were there so many trikes because they were the last? Kind of. Here, let's get back to Jack's video about Triceratops here. Here we go.
All right, so you know, we can do this with a bunch of dinosaurs. You know, I mean, here's
And Diagonal says as late as 2008. That was when the medium-sized Triceratops went in there. So that was after this photo was taken. This photo would have been taken before then. I think it was like 2008. Oh shoot, where did that? Give me a second here. There we go. Information. No, sorry, 2006. This was taken in 2006. So we installed this in 2006. Yeah, this one right here. Yeah. So sorry, that must have been my... Is that my first or second summer working at UCMP? 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009... 2010 was when I graduated. Yeah, I guess this is the summer between 8th grade and freshman year of high school. I think... was that when I started working at UCMP? Really? It was, hang on. It was that early? Yeah, it says this was taken March 15th, 2006. That would have been on spring break for me. March 15th, 2006. Is that right? Yeah, I guess so. Shoot. But yeah. Which is fair, it's cool work. Well, shoot, I don't take as many photos as I used to. But yeah, anyway, here, where were we?
Torosaurus should be kept.
There we go.
When we name dinosaurs, you know, when we name anything, the original name gets to stick and the second name is thrown out. So
very funny, Gojira.
Torosaurus
Oh no,
is extinct. Triceratops, if you heard the news, a lot of the newscasters got it all wrong. They thought Torosaurus should be kept and Triceratops thrown out, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Torosaurus versus Triceratops. There we go. Are Torosaurus and Triceratops the same dinosaur?
Paleontology and your moderator of this evening's entertainment.
This is a debate here.
Smackdown at the Bean Yeah. And in this corner, wearing the blue shirt, better than 200 pounds, more than 6 foot. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce the reigning world champion, Jack the Hammer.
Anyway, kind of goofy, but this is a public debate.
Whereas
about whether or not Triceratops and Torosaurus are indeed the same dinosaur between Jack Horner and Nick Longrich.
curators aren't afraid of us when you come and say we want to
Yeah.
just take pictures as long as you're not going to chop them up. And so that means we can look at lots and lots of dinosaurs. So we were able to look at 36 specimens. We looked at 6 Torosaurus and 30...
Anyway, our method doesn't destroy dinosaurs. No, we're just looking at the superficial aspects of, imprecise stuff, not like histology. Histology doesn't destroy dinosaurs. Again, oh boy. But when you're at an institution that no longer collects, of course you're going to think about fossils in this way, and that they're like precious little presents that you can never open up. Anyway, but if you want to see a debate between two paleontologists over whether or not, Triceratops and Torosaurus are the same dinosaur, there's a link right there. So, yeah. Were these two animals the same? I think they were. And heterochrony is really the key to the puzzle there. But you can't do that if you're not you know, collecting a bunch of specimens, doing histology, doing a bunch of strat work, all of that, which no museums are doing except for, like, Museum of the Rockies. Or they used to do that anyway. So anyway, yeah. But there you go, Murph. Does ontogeny change everything? Is Torosaurus actually an adult Triceratops? I think it is. But the jury's still out on that. I mean, like, I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. And we'll see what happens with this. That's the cool thing about this debate, is that this is a scientific debate, you know? There is, like, truth to be found here. There's an objectively right and an objectively wrong answer here. And one of these days, we'll figure that out. You know? I think we kind of have the answer already, but that needs to be published first of all. But anyway. We'll find out someday. Hopefully it'll be soon, because I'm getting really tired of this stupid debate here. When we have the fossils. Publish them, for crying out loud. Publish some fenestrated Triceratops. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. And this is not available as a sticker, no, but Denver Fowler actually asked me to make this for SVP, for our Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting back in 2013. Yeah, SVP is our big global vertebrate paleontology meeting for the whole world. Global for the whole world. Redundancy. But yeah, we had a special symposium in 2013 called Ontogeny Changes Everything. And Denver said, like, hey, Danny, you work on, you do graphic-y design stuff. Why don't you design some buttons? And I did. And we passed these out for free. And these are like a rare collector's item now. There's this one. And there is, oh, where did that go? I hope I have it here. I do, yes! So, we've got Triceratops, we've got Pachycephalosaurus, and we've got Tyrannosaurus, which is probably the least controversial of the three. That Nanotyrannus is actually an adult, juvenile Tyrannosaurus. But yeah. Anyway, so the three different designs, those were passed out for free at SVP. And, yeah, so there are a number of paleontologists around the world who have these buttons. Yeah. Anyway, and no, Denver, it's not supposed to be in Australia. Don't let him know that I wasn't trying to do an Australian accent. He would be very offended. I'm sorry, Denver. I doubt you'll ever see this VOD, but shoot, I'm sorry. Now, Denver's from the north of England, and immensely proud of that fact. Proud heritage from near Manchester, north of England. So yeah. And the histo slices in the background. Thank you, Golganek. I like that you noticed that detail. Yeah. Those are actually taken from some figures from each of these different animals, so yeah. Anyway. Good stuff. Now, a brief moment's discussion about the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. This organization of which I am a part, the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology, an institution to which I hold a good degree of allegiance. The Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. Why won't these aren't embiggening properly? Oh, whatever. Anyway, SVP. Unfortunately, the global SVP meeting, what we call SVP for short, the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting, SVP for short, that is being held on the same weekend this year as TwitchCon. So I had to make a very difficult choice. Do I go to SVP and spend probably a couple, like, $1,000 on flights and hotel accommodations and food and everything else? Or do I go to TwitchCon and spend much, much less money because I can drive there? Drive to Vegas. Ios and Lordy offered to let me stay with them. So, like, hotel, covered. Food, be a lot cheaper in Vegas. And then I have the opportunity to promote this broadcast and bring more people in to paleontologizing, extend my mission of science outreach and education to a wider audience. And so I have come to the decision. This is like one of those sports ball guys at one of those conferences where he's got like the microphone in front of him. It's like I've decided to bring my talents this year to TwitchCon. I'm going to TwitchCon this year instead of SVP. So yeah. I'm going to TwitchCon, everybody. So where's the yay? There it is, St. Louis Mo. There it is. Right there. Yes, I will be attending TwitchCon this year. And not SVP. It's a real Sophie's choice there, you know? Never was there such a Sophie's choice as this. Yeah. I'm going to TwitchCon this year. And I am... No spoilers yet, but we're going to try to figure out a way to amplify our message of science outreach and education, bring some more attention to science on Twitch. I can't tell you about this yet, but hopefully soon I'll get some stuff submitted to the Twitch higher-ups, and yeah, Balint is going to help me with that. We're in this together. We're going to try and do something really cool and science-related at TwitchCon this year. So if any of you have the wherewithal to join us in Vegas this year for TwitchCon 2023, I can meet you there in person, you know? So yeah. And with that, I think it's about time for us to wrap up this broadcast. I've got to go test out the Starlink. And, shoot, our tail is almost gone. Oh, well, it's got a couple hours probably still for the Triarchunkus. But, yeah, I've got a lot of stuff I got to attend to tonight. Science-wise, outreach-wise. I've got a lot of stuff to attend to. So, with that being said, it's time to wrap up today's broadcast. But don't go away just yet. Put a smiley on there on the screen. Because why not? Our credits will shortly appear over its fearsome canine teeth. Thank you, Lenina. I appreciate you. And Catbird Kate. Catbird Kate, I saw some cedar waxwings today when I was out bird watching. We'll talk about that tomorrow for Thursday Birds Day. By the way, everybody, Thursday Birds Day is tomorrow. Don't miss it. And I hope you've gotten some photos, or gotten a photo of a local bird for tomorrow's broadcast. Let me know, or post it in the Discord, and we'll talk about it tomorrow for Thursday, Birds Day. Thank you, Lenine. I was just about to pull up that command. Good stuff. Who else is here on Twitch right now doing some science outreach? Maybe we'll go raid Balint if he's still on for Science streams. Let's see here. He is. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And Relo Rolo, will you join just in time to go see Balint at Science streams and see what he's up to? So yeah. We're gonna go right into a fellow scientist here on Twitch. He's working on some new emotes or characters or something. But thank you to everybody whose names just flashed by there in the credits. From the quietest of lurkers and followers to the most vociferous of chatters and question askers, to those moderators who keep this train on its tracks. And Trek Nerd, 28 months. Yeah. Perfect for Thursday. Birds Day is tomorrow, Trek Nerd. I hope you can be here for it. But we're going to go say hello to Balint over at Science Streams. I'll see you there, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. We go test out this gear. Oh, I'm excited. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Thanks again. See you later.